When your baby says bye-bye, don't need to worry, don't need to cry. Everything gonna be just fine. The two shall pass.
Welcome to In the Real, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a long time because summer in Minnesota just doesn't let you be indoors. And now that the winter is here, well, it doesn't really feel like it, but we've had quite the event that came up. November 8th that happens every 4 years. And we thought we'd have a little commentary about it. So here we are in the Real. My name's Eric. I'm here with Jen and Cheryl, as always, hosting it off. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. This is Cheryl.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Jen, and this is our election 2016.
Yeah.
Look at that, the thrills.
Yay.
We have had so many conversations about what kind of topics to talk about on the podcast, and we've just been neglecting it. But we're not going to apologize for that because we have lives. But we'll try to be a little bit more consistent. But we really had to talk about this because of the grand old election, and we're going to try to keep things in some relatively close timelines. We're going to talk about some of the comments that we've read on social media, some of the things perhaps we've heard other people around us comment about, our own opinions about it. And, we'll maybe throw a couple of bitches in there, too. We'll do what we can to keep it maybe as low on the bias side as possible. And I'm going to start off with, if anybody remembers, there was, earlier in this year when I said, Trump's probably going to be president.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that. We were having a conversation, and I can't remember what it was about, when they were considered the two electoral people, Hillary and Trump, and we obviously had concerns about it. But I for some reason I remember mentioning he's probably going to be president, or he's going to be, or something to that effect, and not saying I knew what was going to happen. It was just an off the cuff prediction, but. Still surprised that it actually happened that way, and I'm most certainly not advocating for him to have been president, and I most certainly didn't want Hillary either. But
I don't know. You seem pretty fucking excited to me.
Well, I'm not really excited. I am excited that Hillary is not there. If you go on the lesser of two evils aspect, I don't think there was a lesser here.
Yeah.
But and I do too. I don't think that's a good way to look at anything when you're talking about voting. We'll give some opinions on our perspective on voting as well. But I don't think either one of these people were qualified candidates to be president. I really don't. I'm just as surprised to know that he has been elected as anybody else is. But yeah, it's
Excuse me.
yeah,
I was actually pretty shocked when I woke up, because I thought there's no way, America would vote in Donald Trump as president. I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Completely wrong.
Yeah.
And, I didn't even vote for either of them. I vote for third party and got fucked in the ass there.
Yeah.
So.
Don't we always, whenever we were, yeah. It was just that small pinch of hope that maybe.
Well, yeah, because I saw earlier on in the year, I was like, 76% of people were considering a third party, because once Hillary and Trump there were considered, they're like, oh yeah, these are your candidates. Everybody's like, what? So it was pretty big shit pile there. So I really kind of thought that people would go independent, or, one of the other people. I should probably start this out by saying that we actually, a lot of the terminology and everything, we're not real up on.
I wouldn't consider
when it comes
us
to politics, we're not really political.
Yeah, we're not a real big political group of people. I have, not to speak for you, Cheryl, and your perspective, but
yeah.
I don't think that we are. And yeah, I think you made a good point with that. We should be clear. The information that we're really talking from, it has nothing to do with watching debates or anything like that. It's more picking up from other people's vibes and whatnot. It's
and it's not so much a head in the sand thing. A lot of people use that terminology, saying, "Oh, you had your head in the sand, you're just ignoring it." It's like, no, not necessarily ignoring it or having your head in the sand, just being sick of the government the way that it is now and how it's run. And it's the same old bullshit all the time. So the one thing I did hear today, and this was on the KQ morning show that I found interesting, is that they said, okay, so yeah, Donald's in, he's a goofball, whatever, but at least the American public stood up and said, we need a change in government. So we're going to vote somebody in that's not, basically they said no to corruption.
Right. And that's very true. I remember them mentioning that point. I was also listening to the KQ morning show, and, the verbiage was, as you mentioned, in something to the effect that, yeah, it might have been the Republican Party, but Donald Trump was considered Democratic for many, many years, and for some reason now became this Republican person. And yeah, the American public said no to the corruption and voted somebody in who really is not a politician. He's a businessman.
Right.
So that is saying a lot, in my opinion, as well. And
but America's like, fuck this stuff. I mean, yeah, so it's proven that Hillary was, had these emails or whatever, and the corruption was there. And then when they had the investigation, the allegations came in that the FBI was actually covering it up rather than trying to unravel it.
Right.
And I think that's probably what pushed a lot of people over the edge, going, you know what, this is crap. This is not what this does not represent the American public.
Right.
We're not like this, this corruption and this evil or whatever. We don't do that. And to have our government just, basically say, oh, fuck all of you. We're going to do whatever we want. I think that's probably the standpoint that most people that maybe didn't want Trump to win and voted for him took, is my guess.
Okay.
The results seem to be pushing to that aspect. Some of the other comments that they were mentioning on there, it might have been something I read on social media as well. And again, how accurate is that? We don't know. You pointed out the numbers on the third party favoring earlier on. They were looking at some of the polling stuff now that were just completely way off in the news on television, showing that Hillary Clinton was just smoking Trump and everything. And then if you look at what the voting came out to be, it's the whole U.S. is almost red.
Yeah. And they said basically the LA Times was the only news station that reported it accurately. Everybody else showed Hillary in the
right.
Yeah, the popular vote, whatever.
So
the predictions.
It was completely inaccurate information. It was swayed by media, and their ideals, which is not what media is supposed to be. I think maybe stroking us here a little bit, but I think we're a little bit more honest and direct about news than the fucking news stations are, because we're given a personal perspective and being forthright on how we collected our data and how inaccurate the data probably is. Yeah. And they just don't do that. They put a spin on it, which is very objectionary to anybody at a loss of words of it. It's kind of frustrating. I mean, we don't really watch the news. We don't watch television much, but when it comes down to things like this, kind of take from the vibes of other people. Right.
And one of the other things that was mentioned is that kind of the feminist point of view is like, having a woman president. As a woman, that would have been very exciting for me, but I always kept in my head, not her. I would have loved to have a woman president, but not her. Right. And I think the feminist view kind of hurt Hillary in the long run, because it came down to the white male is not going to vote for their own extinction.
Right.
When you go that heavy on the feminist side to the point where it's overbearing, the guys aren't going to vote your way, unless there's a reason. Like some of my gay friends, even though they're males, they wanted to vote for Hillary because they want to make sure their rights are taken care of. And I can totally understand that stance and being afraid that Donald isn't going to represent that.
Right.
And then there's a lot of comments saying that, basically people, oh, you voted for hate. You voted for hatred and whatever. And it's like, Tom Bernard even said this. He said, everyone wants to believe everyone else is basically evil.
Yeah.
It's like, so you want to point the fingers and be like, oh, you're an asshole because of this. It's like, you don't know those reasons of why somebody would have chosen that. It could have been any of that. Maybe they're a white male voting for his own extinction. He doesn't want to be extinct. And the other thing that was said is that there was a lot of people registering yesterday. Yeah. So registering last minute, that means a whole new group of people that haven't voted before. This meant something to them.
Yes.
So they decided to get in there and vote.
There was where I work at, in the room that I'm confined to for my aspects of my job. There's a lady in there, and I do not know her nationality, but she just gained citizenship, and this year was the first year she was able to vote, so she was all excited to go vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know her reasons, and I don't know her political views at all, so I'm speculating here. But I think she did that female aspect of stuff, because I'm pretty sure she voted for Hillary based on some other people's comments that she was going to be upset today.
Mm-hmm.
And only knowing her as little as I do, I can see that out of her, just blowing out the legal issues with Hillary and the stuff that mounted behind that, and letting go of that and just looking at her as a female. And then looking at Donald as being, quote unquote, a woman hater, so she would focus more on that. And my whole thing from all of the debates and everything that came out, not watching them, you heard people talking about that crap, the he said, she said, and all this high school bullshit banter.
That's all it was about.
And it was like, did they talk about the issues and what their plans were to fix that? Well, nobody ever paid attention to that.
They did, but to a lesser extent.
But they never remembered it and brought anything up. That it was all the other garbage.
They remember the emails and grab her in the pussy.
Yeah. Okay. So how is that going to justify these two clowns being qualified to be president?
Yeah, it showed for sure. We both had. Both of them have the maturity of like a 15-year-old.
Right. I even made a comment about that today. I've been talking to somebody. I said, by the crap that they were talking about like that, you know what? We could have put a 14-year-old in there and had the same crap.
Pretty much.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. It is like high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid. And I even said early on when some of that shit was kind of heavy during their candidacies that Trump could have stole everything with ease. After all that crap, if he just took a step back and got serious about the issues of the U.S. and stuck to those points and didn't deal with any of the other garbage, people just would have voted him for that. But he didn't.
And I think on the other hand, Hillary could have done the same if she had been honest about the email situation, owned up to it basically, and then didn't go so hardcore on the feminist issues.
Yeah, absolutely. If they would have both just grew up all of a sudden, or either one of them, they'd have just taken it.
Right. And some of that is shown in these kind of comparison statements that I pulled off that we're going to get into later. Is some of them are very well thought out kind of issue addressing things that make sense, but then the what overshadowed it was their absolute bullshit. The mudslinging and
that was annoying. Just like stop.
Right.
Stop with the mudslinging. How about start promoting what you're about? Not what your opponent's not about.
Right.
It's like, stop. It just was so annoying.
Well, it came down to such a big personality test that I actually find a lot of the comments online today on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, and the news medias that are, like they did one, the celebrities react to the election or whatever, and it was all about against Trump. It was all, all negative. Nobody saying yay. Everybody was like, fuck this. That's all it was. It was really kind of one-sided. But, like even my friends, even people on Facebook, somebody's like, I went to sleep last night fearing the worst. I woke up and it happened and I'm heartbroken, confused, and ashamed of our country. And there's actually other people that have said, I'm embarrassed to be an American. I don't want to live here anymore. People were actually saying that before. Do you guys remember that? They're like, I'm moving to Canada. Okay.
My thoughts are then,
where are you?
Renounce your citizenship, get the hell out of here, and don't come back. If that's really how you feel, then do that. And if you're just blowing it out your ass, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. What else have you guys seen anything about that? It can't just be me. I know I was kind of going OCD on the internet today.
No, gosh, no. I've read a lot of that stuff. They're off, like you mentioned, some of the celebrities and actors, actresses, singers, popular people were making commentary if Trump was president, they were leaving the U.S. And
I think Amy Schumer was one of the big ones that was commented. Yeah.
And they had on Facebook, there was a listing of 16 famous people. I can't remember what denomination that said they were going to do that. And it's like, all right, pack up, get out of here then. Then do it. Show me you're not a liar, and then I'll have a little respect for you. But if you're not going to do that, then from my perspective, you're just blowing your ass because you have a microphone in front of you.
Right.
And you have a stage to do it on, which means you were trying to influence people based on your beliefs.
Yeah.
And what the hell right do you have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Shut your mouth. All you are is have some kind of acting or entertainment type of talent. You are nobody. So don't try to influence people like that. You shouldn't be permitted to do that.
Right. It's not a stage, a platform for your own personal,
Yeah, have an opinion, but not when you're performing or anywhere where somebody might listen to you, because that's irresponsible of you.
Yep. Now there's people that are pissed off at Facebook. They're all just like, I can't even be on Facebook right now. I'm taking a Facebook hiatus.
Good. They're probably not able to handle that responsibility anyway.
The problem is they're getting on Facebook to announce that they're renouncing Facebook.
Yeah. You really want to take a break from Facebook, just fucking delete your account and shut the fuck up.
Absolutely.
Don't tell the whole world about it first.
There was
because guess what? We don't care.
Off the politics topic, there was some stuff about like the environment and stuff like that being talked about on the morning show today. And Dave Mordahl, he's one of the hosts on there. He made this comment a long time ago when he brought it up again today, and it just stuck with me. I always find it funny when he says this. But when people were talking about the environment and like in North Dakota and the pipeline and stuff like that, the reason why they shut all that down was environmental protection and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they pointed out and said, yeah, they shut it down. Did we stop burning gas? No. And we're not going to stop burning gas. It's still going to keep happening, so it doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's jobs here in the U.S., and it's for our economic stability, so cut the crap.
Oh, and both of them, actually, Clinton and Trump, both were for fracking.
Right. So they pointed out, okay, he goes, if you people want to protest, instead of, lighting buildings on fire and, beating people up or doing whatever, then I tell you what, shut off your electricity, sell your car, and stop then purchasing those things. But nobody's going to do
that so much, though. I don't think it's about the fracking issue so much as it's about the native land issue.
Yeah, and I understand that aspect of it, but at the same time, we're in a planet of evolution. Things are going to change. So,
but think about it. I don't remember who I heard this from. This was either from a radio station or something I read. But I mean, think about how white people, all of us. Not us specifically, but think about how the American public would feel if they started digging up graveyards.
Yeah,
I can't fucking do that.
You are right by saying not this group, because we wouldn't give a shit.
I wouldn't care.
But yeah, I understand. Those are very good and they're valid points. I get
now,
that.
If it was a giant piece of history, like it's one thing to just do the cemetery down the street or something, but we're going to have a bigger issue when it comes down to the airport cemetery where all the military.
Right.
Because that is kind of like sacred ground that has a meaning attached to it, and the natives feel more strongly, I think, about that land than we would that. So sure, you got to take that comparison into consideration.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's a way to work around it in some fashion, but...
Well, even just being open to like, okay, how can we make this safer?
Right.
Get in negotiations then. You don't just keep fucking working. That's what's causing the protesting. And I get those people are out there just doing their jobs. We've already had this discussion. But at the same time, the companies are just pushing and just, I don't fucking care. And that's the problem. That's exactly what I think the American public just voted against. We don't need a government that's just going to say, oh, you're the American public. Well, we don't care about you. You're supposed to represent us.
Right. So, yeah, I have varying strong opinions when it comes to Native Americans and the whole land thing, and I understand it all, and it makes sense. I get it, but at the same time, we weren't the ones that charged and took the land over. We're here now. Let's move forward. Let's go do it together. Let's stop the separation, because everybody's always crying about stopping segregation, and then here we are fucking segregating everybody.
Right.
It's like, so which way do you want it? And let's at least move forward with that direction and keep it that way. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to, do that. Back on the politics stuff, so I saw, and they mentioned some stuff about this this morning as well. Some of these, I think they're college kids walking out of class and they're promoting "This is not my president" sort of thing. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you know? You're in college. You don't know shit, and you're learning from some corrupt people already. I hope you got enough for the day and you're paying for it. if it's my tuition, get your ass in class and do your fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't be stupid. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you can have your opinion and object to it, but the hell's that going to do for anybody? You're hurting yourself, and if you're doing it on somebody else's dime, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I wanted to actually point this, if you guys don't mind.
No, go ahead. What do you got there?
Well, first of all, there was a list of like the biggest issues that people were talking about, and some of that was like the immigration, gun control, climate change, Syrian refugees, healthcare, abortion.
Keep the refugees out, goddammit.
Death penalty and taxes, right? So those are kind of like the big issues. And excuse me, I keep coughing today.
Smokers.
There's a lot of the points they were actually of the same opinion on, which I thought was kind of interesting, except for like the big ones like the gun control, or immigration, the healthcare stuff. So it was kind of interesting. So brought up some of the things like, should the Glass-Steagall be reinstated? Do you guys know the Glass-Steagall it's basically banking regulations. They regulate like how the banks can actually process loans, and so they're not getting the garbage loans.
Is that the thing that was loosened up when Obama got placed in there, and that's how the bubble got burst or something?
I don't think it was Obama. I think it was actually Clinton, because she's defending it.
Okay.
So I can look it up real quick.
So I know what I'm talking about is there was these complaints being issued by, I think, like Mexicans or Hispanics and African Americans about the Fair Lending Act being problematic and difficult for them to get loans, and not for white people, to put it kind of black and white. So then that's how things got looser for the lending practices so that people could buy homes. But then anybody and everybody was now buying homes, and then that blew things way out of proportion, and then the bubble burst, and that's how we had our economic fall.
Yeah, and it actually started way back in the 30s. So it was a Depression-era bank regulation that kept different types of financial institutions separate. And then Bill Clinton signed off on the legislation reversing it in 1999. So, people are saying, oh, well, he's the one that, created that financial downfall. And, of course, the Clintons are like, no, that's not it. So, of course, Hillary's defending that. She's like, oh, there's a lot of... She's like, even if those major actors who caused the crash in 2008, they weren't the big banks, so they would have never been covered by the Glass-Steagall anyway. So she's like still for it, and Trump's like, no. He's like, Dodd-Frank has been a disaster, making it harder for small businesses to get credits. The policies the Clintons brought us into the financial recession, through lifting, blah, blah, blah. So he's kind of blaming it on them. So he's for bringing it back, and she's for keeping it.
So that might be something completely different than what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk about those 2 points just right there, you would imagine he would know something about it, since he's a real estate tycoon pretty much.
Pretty much.
How would he not understand those changes and when they took place? Because he's been in real estate for decades.
Yeah, and even if he's not successful at it, because he was claiming bankruptcy for a while there every 10 years, but even if he's not successful in his businesses, he would know. He would understand what's going on there, right? So that's kind of an interesting thing there, is that she's backing up her husband's.
Yeah, well, that's probably making her money some way. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then they went over issues like, should Social Security be privatized? What do you guys think about that?
Then I better not be getting it taken out of my goddamn check anymore. If it's in a private goddamn company, then stop taking it from me.
But privatized means that it would be companies that were competing against each other. So you'd still be coming out of your check, but it would be your choice as to what.
It'd be like what the 401k plan is right now, but all of it.
But all of your Social Security. So.
All right. So why does it have to be that way? Does it need to be? I don't know.
Well, right now, what happens is they put the Social Security in like this big bucket for the federal government, and the federal government fucking spends it or gives it to people that don't contribute. So really, where do you want it? Would you rather have it there so they can spend it and it not be available possibly when we're older? Or would you rather have it be privatized where it's protected or whatever, and maybe played in the stock market like we do now with 401?
I say stop putting it in the general fund. Leave it on the government dole, that's fine. stop putting it in general fund. Now, if that thing accumulates to something massive that, it doesn't look like generations are ever going to tap out
But
on.
federal money's federal money. They'll spend it any way they see fit.
But it didn't used to be in the general fund. They put it in the general fund so they had more money to utilize. And I want to say Reagan might have done that. I might be off, but it was around that time. I remember something being talked about that before. And I say pull it out of the general fund. And if the government needs to take a loan against it, fine, but you pay it back. Then they don't have to borrow money from fucking China.
So the interesting point to this is you're more on Hillary's side, and I'm actually agreeing with Trump. I say privatize it.
Yeah, privatizing is not that bad.
It offers competitive prices and better plans, I think.
Sure.
I would like to see it privatized so I could use it just like my 401.
And I wouldn't have a problem with that. I guess I'm not necessarily objecting to it. I would want to understand a little bit more about it because when I retire, I just want to file my number and get my fucking money. I don't want to worry about who's been betting on what and making me money. I don't want to deal with that shit. And I already have to do that with some of my other stuff. It's a pain in the ass to have to deal with.
Do you have anything, Cheryl?
Yeah, I've been ferociously writing.
I can see it. She's writing
things
stuff down. So let's go to you for a while, and then we'll come back to some of the questions.
What do you got, Cheryl?
I was just kind of looking over. What was it? The world leaders that react to Donald Trump's U.S. Election victory.
Oh, yeah, I read that
of,
earlier.
Yeah, and it's kind of all over the board. It's kind of interesting because there's some that totally support him. There's some that totally don't. It started out with NATO, who's looking forward to working with Trump. Europe and the UK, they congratulated Trump. France, Trump opens up. France Prime Minister Trump opens a period of uncertainty. Germany, Trump, let's see, it was for Trump, American policy. Oh, no, actually, they kind of weren't. No, it says that Trump was, foreign policy will be less predictable, but they were somewhat kind of on the fence. Italy, it's a new stage for Americans, but they seem to be hesitant to support Trump because they were actually more supporting Hillary. Was it Slovenia? They're allies with NATO, so they'll strive for...
And NATO's a little bit worried, but they're trying to make it work with Trump.
Yeah. They look to see... They supported him, but they're kind of like, well, all right, we'll deal with you. We'll strive for the friendship and the deeper connection with the alliance.
Right.
Spain, they actually congratulated Trump, and they'll deepen the friendships between the two countries. Sweden, the prime minister tweeted, at least Nixon had a solid understanding of world affairs, maneuvered skillfully.
The fuck?
Yeah.
They went to reference Nixon?
Yeah, it would totally reference Nixon. Tweeted it, too. Maneuver.
They might as well have just said Hitler. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously, they were a little pissed off,
Basically,
I'd say.
so Sweden, they're not for it.
No.
They said, the world affairs maneuvered skillfully, but morally corrupt.
You sure that wasn't from my friend Seth? Was he Facebooking that?
Could have been. It was morally corrupt and collapsed in disgrace. Sweden, off the board. They totally are not for it.
Yes.
Russia, Vlad
They're
Putin.
for.
Absolutely.
Now,
he actually telegrammed Trump to congratulate him personally. The Middle East, they telephoned Trump to congratulate him personally. Israel, the prime minister called Trump a true friend, and it's a true victory. Saudi Arabia, Trump will be the stability between the tightness, or I wrote this wrong, will be basically bring stability and tightness between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Israel also congratulated Trump. The list kind of goes on. It kind of goes back and forth. Some totally off the board, like, Sweden, like, this, you guys are screwed. Sorry, America. Others, they're like totally for it. Yeah. It's very interesting. I could have continued to go on, but.
And if you imagine if it was the other way, then everything would just be flip-flopped.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it's interesting to kind of hear the Middle Eastern side. A lot of them are actually for it. So, it may not be this doom and gloom that, the ones who didn't vote for Trump maybe.
And you know who's worried? China and Japan.
Yeah.
Are very worried.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get that.
Well,
I didn't get that far.
It would make sense
But-
if you think about it, because he's a businessman.
Yeah.
Very business headed.
Yeah.
And his objectives seem to be along those lines for American business. So where does production type jobs go, industry? It's going to come back here. So then they'll lose money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so of course they would have concern about that. And with all that industry, you're going to have things like other products you need from the Middle East, oil and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, because if he starts firing up more of our side of the fence, they could lose money from that aspect, but that's going to force them to have more competitive costs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's pros and cons.
I actually have an issue written down about that with quotes from both of them.
Okay.
Like the oil and stuff like that?
No, does lowering corporate income tax create jobs? That
Absolutely.
makes China and Japan very worried. And Donald's quote was, lower the corporate tax rate to 15% to unleash the American ingenuity here at home. Ingenuity, thank you. And make us more globally competitive. This tax cut puts our rate at 10 percentage points below China and 20 below our current burdensome rate that pushes, jobs out of the country. I had to ad-lib that last piece because apparently it got cut off. I'm sorry. And I'm blushing in case anybody can't see. I'm like, oh shit, that didn't make it on there.
I'm winging it. Reminds me of a book report I did in the 4th grade.
Right. So and Hillary was basically like, she just kind of gave a non-committal answer. Like it was kind of a bunch of nonsense. It's not even really worth reading it. It had to do with study to drive jobs, improve our nation's competitiveness, to invest in infrastructure and science research. It was kind of just like, okay. And then Gary Johnson actually agreed with Trump, saying that yes, as a businessman, he agrees that would actually help people, here with jobs and keeping jobs in the country. So that would be scary for all the places that we are outsourcing right now.
Yeah. And on that tax cut thing, I do want to make some comments about that because, a lot of people make the comment that Trump has avoided paying his taxes for years and stuff like that. Now, let's be clear. There is nobody in the U.S. not going to pay their taxes. The government's going to hunt your ass down and get their goddamn money.
Right.
Okay, now, that being said, we owned property for many years. And there were a few years where our tax obligation was 0.
Right.
It is capable of being done by anybody with the right amount of deductions and the right business plan you have going on. If he didn't pay taxes because he was doing it correctly within the rules, there's nothing wrong that he did. He didn't avoid anything. Trust me, with the kind of money he deals with, the IRS is going to hunt his ass down if he owed them money. Mm-hmm. It's not going to just get blown away under the carpet bullshit. That doesn't happen.
Well, even on the federal income tax issue, he said, I may have to increase the taxes on the wealthy. He said he may, not that he would. He may. But one thing he did say that stood out to me, and I have to repeat, I'm not a Trump advocate. I did not vote for him. I did not vote for Hillary either. I voted for a third party because I thought, maybe a lot of people would follow the lead, but apparently not.
They didn't follow yours.
No. So anyway, but what he did say that stood out to me today when I was reading it is he said, it's right here, hang on. I'm not going to allow it to be the federal taxes to be increased on the middle class.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
Okay.
Because it's almost like he recognizes, we get fucked every single time. Yeah. So why is it just us?
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that was kind of cool. I mean, he's all for, the, what did they call that? When you're claiming stuff, deductions, right? He's all about the deductibles and everything like that. I get that, especially for businesses.
He's a business guy.
He's a business guy. He knows that.
If you're going to invest appropriately and you're going to be, spending money for the financial health of this government or of this country, then there's no reason why you shouldn't have deductions out of that and gain from that as a citizen here. So, hey, that's great.
Right.
And there's pros and cons to raising the taxes on people that are wealthy. I mean, where do you draw the line on what is wealthy and then really wealthy? So those get defined, and of course the people that are wealthy, that get pushed into, say, the really wealthy, and they don't think they are. Of course, they're going to object.
Right.
The lines just are what they are. But to think that, people that own businesses that are successful and they make a great deal of money, that they don't pay taxes of some kind, oh my goodness, they pay taxes. Just because, we pay, 12, 15 grand in taxes a year. Well, they're paying, $1.5, $3 billion or $3 million in taxes a year. Hey, they want some goddamn tax cuts because that's a lot of money going out.
That's a lot of money going out.
And if it boils down to half of it only gets paid, they're still shelling out a big chunk of money. Now, is it right or wrong? I don't know. And I'm just throwing out numbers and guesses here. I don't know what somebody like that would pay. But, if they've been getting some breaks that only somebody that makes that kind of money can get, well, is it fair? Is it not? I don't know. Being below that, I can look at it and say, fuck that, pay more. But if I get to that point, I'd be looking and going, fuck that, I don't want to pay that. So,
right.
You can't blame them.
Well, then here's the disappointing thing is that I kind of expected something out of Hillary saying that, don't tax the middle class. She didn't say anything like that, of course, because that usually doesn't come out of, well, not even that. It usually doesn't come out of a politician's mouth.
Right.
We're never even addressed. The middle class is not addressed.
No,
and that's the majority of us. Now, the one thing, Donald being a businessman, he also understands the classes and the need for certain ones. In order for the rich to be healthy, they need people to, basically have under them. Sure.
If there's nobody underneath you, you're the bottom.
Right. In Hillary kind of went the stooge road. She went she's like, a priority must be reforming our tax code. First, hardworking families need and deserve tax relief and simplification. Second, those at the top have to pay their fair share. That's why I support the Buffett rule, which makes sure millionaires don't pay lower rates than their secretaries. So, but the problem is the Buffett rule was a tax plan that was proposed by Barack Obama. So it's like she's just standing on his shoulders going, oh yeah, all this political stuff. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep that in place.
Keep riding what he started.
And it's like nobody was happy with it. Nobody was happy with the tax shit. Nobody was happy with the health care. Why are you promoting things that most people fucking hate?
Right.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Hugely.
That's kind of what I'm kind of going by is that I'll admit I was a full Obama supporter in the beginning. I actually had a friend.
I voted for him the first time too.
I was totally an Obama enthusiast.
Because change. That's why.
Change, exactly.
The message of change.
And
the only thing that changed was skin color.
Eric. What are you doing?
He sucks as a president. I'm just saying. He's horrible.
And he disappointed me. And so I'm hoping that this time around it'll be the same. I didn't vote for Trump, but maybe he'll be a surprising,
Or maybe he'll be like Jesse, where it's kind of exciting in the beginning, and then at the end it's just kind of like, okay, time to go.
But I think, you're right. With him being a businessman, maybe this will actually turn out all right.
I just hope he doesn't end up like Jesse, just fucking blowing his mouth off years after. Nobody wants to hear from you anymore. Right. Shut the fuck up.
Right, exactly.
For those that don't know, we're from Minnesota, and Jesse Ventura, the ex-wrestler, actor, was our governor for a stint. And I'm going to make an assumption here that the Minnesotans decided they got tired of the bullshit politics and decided to take a gamble on somebody who wasn't a politician. Mm-hmm. And from the start, I was excited for the opportunity for him because he could have done something so great with that role to be a non-politician. And if he would have made it successful, it would have opened up the eyes for everybody across America that, hey, we don't need a politician in here. We just need somebody that knows what needs to be done.
Well, kind of like it started with Jesse, but then he was, mentally fucking
he just started screwing shit up and fucked everything up, went in it for himself. And
look at Arnold now.
Right.
Now, Arnold, he followed, basically followed. And this guy, he wasn't even born here. I was so proud of Californians for voting this guy in.
Yeah.
Anybody can be, the mayor or governor. Anybody can do that now. We've opened the door to that. And then this guy made some great changes.
He did
and then what does he do? He goes back to acting and he's still fucking awesome at it.
Right.
And of course he made some mistakes without a doubt. But he did understand there were some things that needed to be done. He took that job without pay.
I don't care who you're fucking. So I'm not. So when you say mistakes, I'm not looking at those mistakes.
No,
I'm talking about
some other
your
political
private
mistakes.
Life. Yeah, your private life is not our life.
Yeah, right. With Bill Clinton, I could have cared less. You know what? Fuck every chick that comes in your office. I don't give a rat's ass.
JFK did the same thing.
Absolutely. Every president's done that shit.
Awesome president. Exactly. And you know what? As a president, you should do that.
That's right.
We're just better at covering it up because we didn't have Facebook and cell phones and cameras everywhere. That's the only.
That's the only thing really that's different from those times to now. Unless a video or a TV camera caught JFK and Marilyn Monroe in the bathroom screwing, nobody was ever going to know.
No.
Right.
And it's speculation on why she's leaving the house. Nobody knew. Nobody really cared, and it wouldn't spread like it does today.
Yeah.
So if Hillary was in there, she'd be banging all the young kids that came through there. It wasn't going to matter.
And she should be.
Absolutely. Fuck them all. Take all that 18-year-old jizz up your ass. I don't care. Run the country, do a good job. That's all I give a shit about. I want to get laid all the damn time.
Right.
So who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't have anything to do with your,
The way
people
you
do your
run
job.
The problem is
the
people
office,
bring religion and morals into it, and I think that's a huge mistake.
Morality is a personal choice.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
It has nothing to do with running a country,
No.
really.
Exactly.
I mean, to a certain extent, okay, yeah, there's some, issues, and you want people to care about people, but just because they fuck somebody else doesn't mean that they don't care about
If
people.
the French prime minister came to the White House and Trump just lays out his wife on the dinner table, okay, there's a problem. That's a little too much.
Right. It's a little
But
going
now
overboard.
if she runs you down in the Oval Office and rapes you, good job, Trump. I don't care.
Right.
Now, if that causes problems with her relationship when she gets back to France, her fucking problem, not ours.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Private life doesn't have anything
No.
to do with the public life.
Don't give a shit.
Right.
Shouldn't
I mean,
have
now
anything.
if they're doing what was it? What was the lady? Can't remember her name. The ancient figure that took girls into her castle and killed them because she believed bathing in virgin blood would make her younger forever. What was it? Bethany something. I can't remember the name. Sorry.
It sounds like Queen
Terrible.
Mary or something. No.
No, it wasn't Queen Mary. It wasn't Bloody Mary, Queen
Right.
Mary or whatever.
I thought you were talking about the witch from the gingerbread house with the kids.
That might have been based off this lady.
Bringing kids back to her house.
I'd have to get the name up. I'd have
Until
to look
you
it up.
until you talk about the bathing and blood part, I don't think that was in the story.
Well, so that's, I mean, yeah, if you're doing that, then there's definitely some morality issues we need to talk about. But there has to be
But
a
that's
line
the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
A
But a lot of
moral
people are
choice.
saying, "Oh, cheating is absolutely wrong." It might be in your opinion.
There was
but
a
what if they have an
Mormon running.
agreement? Yeah, the Mormon running.
Well,
Who
half the people in the world
Yeah.
think he's having multiple affairs.
Multiple-
No, he's
right.
not.
They don't know.
It's acceptable
Right.
in his lifestyle. Who gives
Yeah.
a shit?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the other questions was, should there be more gun control laws?
Now, that is something that is a very good topic for
Mm-hmm.
the three of us to
Yes.
communicate on because, we've got some positions on that. So I'm going to let you finish doing what you guys. I have some stuff to say about that for sure. And definitely interested in what Cheryl might think about it.
About more laws being okay.
Gun control stuff.
Yeah. I guess I don't really have an opinion.
So here's
you know?
what Hillary said. And I'm starting with her just because she kind of she's not as far left as what you would imagine.
She's nuts.
She's saying that, nice there. Nice non-judgmental kind of, no, we can have common sense gun reforms that keep weapons out of the hands of criminals and the violently unstable while respecting responsible gun owners. The stakes are too high, the costs are too dear, and I'm not and will not be afraid to keep. And I apologize, it cut off again, so maybe I should just stop reading the last sentences.
I don't really think that she doesn't make any sense there because saying it's, for one, too expensive. No, it's not. Two.
No, she's the stakes are too high and the costs are too dear, meaning that if there isn't a change,
Taking somebody's
It's-
life is too great of a
right.
consequence.
There's always going to be a black market for anything.
that's kind of where
The
most
harder-
right.
Right, and the harder you push, the deeper the market's going to be. You can't get away from it. It's something that you can't get away from.
I did like that she actually said, well, she's like still respecting the rights of responsible gun owners. That's actually more than what we've heard from the left.
Yeah, left wing as well.
I question what that means to her though, and how that's defined for her. I don't.
And we wouldn't know unless we could
Right.
sit her down and talk
Because-
to her, right?
When I hear what you said, sounds really good, but at the same time, there's just no lines drawn. So to me, it doesn't say anything promoting one or the other. It's got some substance to it, but it's not saying anything that I'd be comfortable with saying, all right, give it a shot, because I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
So now I'm going to read Trump's statement second, and I'm going to do Gary Johnson's last just because, Trump is being Trump. And I think one thing that we should already call for as the American public is he needs some really strong aides in there helping him speak.
Okay.
answer
Okay.
questions and have something prepared because he
Okay.
kind of comes off like a fucking dumbass.
Okay.
We really don't need another George W. Bush Jr.
No.
You know,
No.
we don't need that, you
No.
know, where you can't even pronounce, he just makes up fucking words.
Listening
So-
to Kakaris
God.
92.5.
Right.
Did you ever hear that guy do? I
No.
forget the comedian that does like the Steve Madden voice.
Yeah.
I can't remember his damn name, but he could do
I know who you're
George
talking about.
W.
Yeah.
so freaking well.
Yeah.
They had him do a cut one time on the radio station call numbers, and he calls it Kakaris.
Sorry.
Instead of KQRS. It's like, God, thank you for listening to
Kakaris.
Kakaris 92.5 because Bush is so stupid.
Right.
So it
Oh,
was the
God.
funniest shit ever. You didn't expect him to try to pronounce 4 call letters as a word.
Jesus.
here's-
He's just ridiculous. He's so embarrassing.
Well, and that's what I kind of see that Trump's going to have moments like this
Frick.
too. And here's the statement. Maybe I'm judging a little too harshly. You guys can be the judge. So Trump's quote was, number one, I'm a Second Amendment person. If we had guns in California on the other side where the bullets went in the different direction, you wouldn't have had 14 or 15 people dead right now. Even in Paris.
What?
I know what he's talking about.
Right. He's talking about, you know, the tragedies that were
The
happening.
mass shooting in
the mass
California,
shooting.
Okay, well,
Florida,
yeah.
And then the
Paris.
Paris issue, and they're basically saying that if everybody was armed and they were shooting back,
Right. You
there
would
wouldn't
just
be
have
as many people dead.
You would have more.
Maybe. Because bullets don't just stop at the bad guys.
Right.
you
Right,
know, and
right.
They don't track them down.
Oh, Jesus.
I know what he's saying.
I know what
though.
he's saying, and I get what he's saying.
Right.
He's, you know, he's for the
Okay,
Second Amendment.
okay.
Great.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But why
Sounds like
did
an idiot.
He just needed to stop there.
Yeah. Oh, and Paris.
So
Right,
now
right.
the independent guy that pretty much got none of the votes here actually, I think, stated it the best. He says, I'm in the camp that if you outlaw guns, only the criminals are going to have guns. I've supported permitting the conceal and carry of all along.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I've made these comments to some people about gun control stuff. I actually don't like that phrase gun control because it doesn't say anything, and the people that hear it, they apply what they think that means, and most of the time it's all the way to taking people's guns away from them.
Right.
And that is not gun control. So I whenever I even say those words myself, it's bothersome to me. I think there are improvements that need to be made with the tracking of ownership of firearms that will greatly help responsibility to the ownership of the firearms. Because right now, we're responsible gun owners. We have several. And I don't care how difficult life would get. I'm not going to sell one to some jag off on the street to get me a couple $100 because I can, without knowing who's buying this thing.
If they can track animals with a microchip, why can't they microchip guns?
And it's not that they probably couldn't.
They could.
It's just people are going to be able to modify and deal with
Yeah.
that. What they could do with an animal.
Modify it, the cops are right there at your door.
Yeah.
Just like that
Yes,
bracelet
bitches.
on your ankle, right? My thing is, we do it with vehicles having titles, and when it transfers ownership, the title transfers up. Why can't you do that? Because the firearms have codes on them too.
Well, I think you're supposed to do that. That's the thing.
No,
right? You can.
I checked on that.
Oh.
When we purchased it from an FFL or a dealership of some kind, they're really just checking on you. There's not a whole lot of tracking going on with the firearm. Yeah, you bought it. They have that listed, but if you sell it from that point, nobody has to do anything. And that's where I think there's a big gap that needs to be addressed. There should be just like a title for a car, who you're selling it to, who sold it, the date, and that way when you...
Well, who the hell would sell a firearm then if it's not tracked?
Well, that's the thing is that when people like deceased, if they've been registered as a drug or as a gun owner, people will just take those guns and just sell those guns because it's not
Or
it's
even
not
keep
tracked to
them.
anybody. Yeah, or keep them
And then
sell
where'd
them
they
for
go?
themselves.
Nobody knows.
Right, because it's actually registered to a deceased person.
I don't understand it at all. I don't
And it's not
understand
even
why
registered.
that hasn't been
No.
in place for before. Because I always thought that's the
No.
reason you have to put all that information in when you
No.
buy a gun.
That's what I
I've
found
done it
out.
how many times now? That form is fucking huge and I hate it,
Yeah.
but I do it because I'm thinking they're going to know where this gun is.
Nope.
But if I sold it to somebody else, they don't care.
Nope.
That's fucking ridiculous.
The only thing
Yeah.
it tracked is that you purchased that firearm And that's it. Unless it goes to another dealer that gets sold off, there's not another tracking line on who purchased it next.
Oh, my God.
So we can sell it as much as we want, and it doesn't matter.
But so how do the people that sell guns not realize that if something happens with this gun and it's involved in a crime, it's going to come back to you?
The only thing people
It's like a pawn shop.
The only thing they're required to do is to prove that they weren't there at the time of the crime with the firearm. And most people that sell it have a bill of sale written, I sold it on such date, and that's all that they need.
Yep.
To prove that I wasn't there, I didn't shoot it, I didn't do anything with it.
How
So there's no,
unresponsible.
that's what I mean. That would, give some sort of level of responsibility to where the ownership is, and then the firearm is tracked. Where did it go next?
Right.
And if, you proved to me well enough that I can sell you this firearm, and I have your name and your ID and stuff like that, and I take my receipt of that half and I send it to the state, well, then they're going to go find this person in 30 days saying, why haven't you registered this firearm? And if they don't find them, well, now they know somebody just purchased a firearm that can't be found. We need to discover what's going on. And at least they know somebody else has this firearm and it's kind of missing out there right now.
Yeah.
So if this person ever gets stopped for anything, they're flagged. Where's this firearm you purchased?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
That would have some controlling factors. Not necessarily that's stopping anybody from owning it, but at least there's tracking of where this firearm went from one person to the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the criminals end up with the damn guns.
Right.
Because that's how that black market lists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they advertise it all the damn time when we buy firearms. Don't buy it for somebody else because that's a crime.
Right.
Okay, but if you buy it for yourself and sell it to somebody else, well, how do they prove that that was a crime? Mm-hmm. Unless that person's going to willy-nilly come up and say, well, he bought it for me. Well, okay, now you're fucked, but so are they anyway, because maybe they shouldn't have a gun.
So it sounds to me we got some outdated bureaucracy things that are preventing that, and it really shouldn't be, because common sense would be like, hello.
And that's where responsible gun owners
life.
come down to, I'm not selling you a damn, I don't know who you are.
Put titles on them like the car then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That, to me, would be at least a step forward to having responsibility with the firearm for ownership. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, when it's in your hands, you just can't be a moron.
Well, and I know that the other side of the argument is that, well, then if, everything, like right now, everything's supposed to be registered. If you have a title on it and then the government decides, oh, well, they know exactly how many you have and they're going to come take them away. Well, they could still do that with the registration piece unless you say, oh, I sold it. So I get that now it's pretty easy to hide a firearm, like bury them in your backyard and said that you sold them, write up a fake bill of sale or whatever. But I don't really see that.
Well, even with a car,
Yeah.
if you sell a car, you don't have to give them the title.
Right.
Well, the only problem is that if something happens to it, they come to you because you're the owner of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, what are they going to do to you? I wasn't driving it. They can't make you responsible for something that isn't your fault. But you're in the chain to understand what happened and where it happened, that kind of thing. So even with that aspect, you could say, I don't have it anymore. It broke, it got destroyed, whatever. I lost it. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so, I understand the whole tracking side of it, and maybe people get a little weirded out about that, but at the same time, I've got nothing to hide, so I don't care.
Right.
But if that's what it takes to calm people down, then fine. Mm-hmm. Give me the little certificate, then I'll sign it off when I'm signing it over to somebody or when I'm selling it, whatever the deal is. And really, that would enable a gifting aspect. Because technically now I can't buy a firearm. You'd say, here, honey, here's a Merry Christmas or whatever. Because technically I bought it for somebody else.
Right.
Well, that's a crime. Well, why would it be a crime since you're licensed to carry one? And big fucking deal, who paid for it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you weren't licensed to carry it and you were not permitted to even have a firearm, I could see that being a problem.
Right.
But then I'm not a fucking idiot and I wouldn't do something like that anyway. But there are people that don't care enough to focus on that, and they don't check stuff out. So, that's why when I hear the words gun control, that I think people just go to their head of taking everybody's guns away. It's like, no, that's not the thing, and that's never going to happen. And look at Chicago. Mm-hmm. People killed all the time, and nobody can have a gun there. Mm-hmm. I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
There's another state, and I always forget the damn name of it, and it's up around Maine or Massachusetts or some shit like that. Anybody can carry one without a permit.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets shot.
Right.
Wow. Well, that's good.
Because you don't know who's got a fucking gun or not.
Right.
Well, in Chicago, they know you don't have a gun.
Yeah.
Only the criminals do.
That's right. So I
And
got no
that's where
problem.
it'd be moving to if they took all the guns away.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next issue, what do you guys think about Obamacare?
Fucking dumb from the start.
It was horrible. It didn't affect me, but yeah, I don't think it did the economy any good.
The stories from that, there's a gal that works at where I work, who's just a front desk, not just a front desk person, but that's her current position. She used to, today she just told me about it. She used to work at an insurance claims office for billing. And she noticed years ago, that's why she quit that job, because she was getting yelled at by everybody that called in from their premiums going up. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I just do the claims. But every phone call was yelling at her for their premiums rising and their deductibles going up and things not getting covered. She's like, I saw where it was going. I couldn't work there anymore. I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend she was just appalled because when Obamacare came through, all of a sudden their premium had tripled from what it was before. And the
right
packages,
off the start.
Right, and then they're told that the packages that they had are now illegal, and they had to choose other ones. This is recently, and now she says that their payment is going to be pretty much as their house payment.
Wow.
Because they're both self-employed.
That's
That's criminal, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Hillary was the only person that was supporting that. She thought
Okay.
Obamacare, she said she was very proud of it and whatever. All the other candidates, Donald included, everybody was like, it's bullshit. It needs to change immediately.
Good.
Well, our local radio station here, KQRS, Tom Bernard, his family coverage.
Bob. Not Tom.
Tom.
Right? Oh.
Tom's family coverage last year was $62,000 a year. This year is going to $83,000.
Whoa.
That was just the premium, and had huge deductibles that they ended up paying all their money out for their medical bills anyway. Nothing got covered.
Yeah.
And yet they're paying $80,000 for insurance that doesn't cover a goddamn thing.
Yeah,
Well, and it's not
that's
like we go to the
ridiculous.
doctor a lot.
No.
But I gotta tell you, the past 2 years that we've gone to the doctor, this is the first time I've ever had to pay anything over, between $10 to $40. We had to pay $200 something just for a fucking ankle brace that I could have bought at Walmart
For
Wow.
$12.
for $12.
Wow.
Yeah, $270 something for that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Since when? They're
Wanna
like,
take it
oh, well,
back.
your plan doesn't cover that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What the hell am I paying you for?
Yeah.
The whole visit, actually, I had to pay for.
You did?
Yeah, that was
thing?
the whole visit.
Wow.
Because none of it was covered
Under the
because
new
of the
plan.
deductible.
Right. And I have a pretty good insurance plan. I work for a healthcare industry,
Yeah.
and
Jesus,
the coverage is like, nope,
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about the Sansevieres. Theirs
them too,
were
right?
skyrocketing
Yeah.
to the point where they had to figure out if they were going to even cover their own moms.
Wow.
It was too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were just paying the penalty. I think it was like $2,200 for the year or something like that, or $1,800, something really weird. But
That's cheaper than what my insurance
right,
cost me.
it's because some people would balance. Well, if I could pay, rounded off $2,000 a year, and I go to the doctor 3-4 times, well, there's another $1,000. That was less money than paying premiums,
paying the premium,
which then
yeah.
I still had to pay for the visits I went
Right.
to. So some people were doing that, but they got you because if you make a certain amount of money, that'll screw you because you're going to pay the greater amount of either that base fee or 2% of your income.
Oh boy.
Wow.
I was like, what the fuck? So now if I make $200,000 a year, I'm paying 2 or 20, whatever the hell that's going to calculate. I'm not going to calculate in my head right now.
And it's
2%,
frustrating for me because we spent our entire lives being Democrats up until a couple of years ago when I realized I was neither.
Yeah.
Because I fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Neither party represents me.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, nice. Sorry, those are the cats playing downstairs, chasing each other. So another big topic that they were talking about is should euthanization or physician-assisted suicide be allowed?
Yes.
And I found that
Yeah, why
interesting.
not?
I found that interesting that they
Yeah.
actually had that because before that was like a shh, don't talk about that.
Right.
Nobody talks about that.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, and they all kind of, like, Donald didn't have an opinion on it. He just kind of blah, 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 and it didn't really make any sense.
I'll give him his opinion.
But the rest of the candidates seemed to say, well, I think that, like Hillary was saying that she believes it's in the province or the state, to decide that. And Independent was like, he's like, well, individual religious and moral views vary. He's like, it's basically one of the most basic rights that people should have that are in pain.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say within pain. I think if all of a sudden you decide you don't want to live anymore, go to the doctor and get the hell out of here. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
They're not really talking about that kind of suicide.
I think it needs to go to that level.
I mean, it would help with population.
Damn right. That's what I'm saying. If you're that much of a fucking moron, you can't handle one day to the next, get the hell out of here. Go to the doctor. I'll pay for it.
Well, I guess the other side of it looks at it as like that is a disease. People are
stable
enough. They're mentally not, equipped to handle it, and they.
My point.
Nice.
Well, that's their decision, though. Okay.
You're talking about that from the position of your friend.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
when you bring it
but he wasn't
personalized-
mentally stable at the time. That's the thing.
He was what?
He was not mentally stable. He wasn't in the right state of mind.
That's the
I
point
hear
that
what you
people
mean.
are talking about is like if they, whether it's meds or whatever that's not causing
Right,
them.
they got to go
most
through
people
like
blame the meds.
a 15-day process or something like that.
So
Okay.
you go to the doctor, say, I want to kill myself. They say, okay, we'll put you in this rubber room for 15 days. If you still feel the same when you come out, then we'll take care of it.
Well, yeah, we'll try to fix your meds. If that doesn't happen, then then sign this release, and there you go. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is a touchy subject, but
Well, I'm going to add stipulations. If that's the rule, then at the end of the 15 days, if you don't cover the rent for that room, then we're going to do it the old-fashioned way with a rope. We're not going to spend more money on you.
That's terrible.
Hanging was outlawed for a reason because it's inhumane, Eric.
Right, in the 1400s, okay?
Then you can opt out of the 15-day waiting period and sign a form, say, I do this willingly, do me now.
Yeah.
Covered under insurance.
So then here's the other thing, and this actually came up at work today, is the wall, right? And I'm talking to a very young-minded individual, one of my coworkers who's much younger than I am. He's talking about the wall. He wants the wall. And I'm like, do you know what you're asking for, though? I mean, do you really understand, like, what that's going to do?
Yeah.
There are portions of the border that have walls, the ones that are the hardest to get to and the hardest to patrol, right?
Right.
Now, the rest of it is patrolled by people.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they don't just protect people from coming in. They're basically search and rescue at certain points because people are trying to make these giant, traverses through the hottest, deadliest part of the desert, sometimes with no water. They're ill-prepared, and people can be on the verge of death. They will actually call the U.S. Border Patrol and be like, I need help. I'm going to die. And so then they'll come out and, people in helicopters, whatever, they see people lying there. They've come on so many dead bodies that are trying to cross the border that they don't just serve to keep people out. They serve from saving people who are trying.
Let them die.
I get
Stop
what
being
you're
stupid.
saying. But there's a reason that they want to cross, right? Because their government is not very good. It's not very rich or whatever. So Donald says he wants to build the wall and force Mexico to pay for it. How are you going to do that if Mexico doesn't have any money?
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah, they do.
The cartel does.
Good luck getting
They
them to
might
pay
own
for
the
it.
government, but they are not the government.
Right.
Well, fork over that money you're
Well,
taking from the government.
We see how well the Berlin Wall worked. I mean, really,
In the
why
China,
do it again?
right?
Yeah, the China
like,
Wall.
It's still
none of
people
it-
will dig tunnels. People will find out
Right.
elaborate devices.
not
There's
gonna
always an extra effort
And it
to
was-
find out how to defeat it. So
it's
is
just-
it really purposeful, or should we just create more jobs and get more people down there?
Right. It just
I
causes
say-
separation and causes angst, which
Right.
eventually in the next 20 to 30 years, the wall's going to be torn down anyway. So why bother?
I say we set up catapults on the Mexican side. We'll help you get there. If you're brave enough to get launched over and you survive and can walk away, hey, welcome over.
All right.
Now, I'll be facetious, but I understand some of it. I get it. I think you has Jen watch a documentary about some of that stuff. And there are people trying to leave Mexico because they're trying to leave it. And they got a very rough situation, very bad situation. I think I watched a documentary about this one area is like 15 or 8 murders a day or something like that. They're just
in the extreme poverty.
Yeah, it's just horrible. And there are some people that are slaved to the cartels there.
Enslaved, yep.
And they're trying to really escape is what it is. And most of the time, the cartels are patrolling that side and will kill people trying to escape anyway. So I get all of that.
They're looking just as hard as the Border Patrol.
Right.
And if they find you, they will put you in a workhouse, and you actually have to work for them to earn your either way into the citizenship, because there's people on this side too.
Right.
Or work for them in order to pay the bill that they had to get in order to rescue you or whatever.
Right.
To get you back to your family and everything. So people are basically forced into labor and prostitution in order to do that, and sometimes for years.
Yeah.
And they could have probably paid that off 3 times as much as what it actually cost them.
Yeah.
But they don't know because they don't let them go until they say, okay, we're done with you.
Wow.
By then they're used up anyway. They'll never survive anything. And really, there's, from what I understood from one of these things that I had watched, there's more tunnels going under that wall now than anything. So it's not anything that's observed.
Right.
Going over a wall or crossing the desert. It's already more secretive. And yet there's still so many people crossing over here. Like, cause, just like, up here, we understand it. People, well, more so in Michigan, live in Canada and come to the U.S. to work, go back. This happens. What happens down there too? That happens all the time. So there are people that come across, illegally and sometimes bring people illegally. They get dropped off. They find ways across. It's always going to happen. To eliminate that permanently is going to be difficult. And at the same time, I'm strong in supporting preventing the illegal aliens and the immigration that happens, because granted, they take jobs nobody else here wants, but if those jobs aren't covered and there aren't people taking them that nobody wants, people are going to take them because they're jobs. And on the same note, those folks aren't contributing to this country.
I just thought of a really, really good idea that's probably shooting off the hip here, and it might have major repercussions, and people have to tell me if I'm sounding like an idiot. Why don't we just make Mexico part of America?
Well, we'd have to wipe out the cartel, because then they would just run havoc all through the U.S.
Hey, we'd give the FBI a whole new thing to do, because all of a sudden it's our territory. It's our territory now, fuckers. We're coming down on ya.
Right.
And all these people, okay, well, you only make $2 for a year, then we'll tax you a penny. I mean, come on, there has to be some kind of solution to that. All of a sudden, okay, fine, you're all America now. Right. Y'all have voting rights. Y'all do this and this and this, but you're going to be
we don't
part
want
of
them
us.
having voting rights.
I'm saying if there was like a way that they could incorporate that and make it better, all of a sudden it might be an option.
I think there's lots of options and choices to deal with the illegals that are currently in country.
Well, they wouldn't be illegal anymore if we made them all Americans.
No, just say here's your choice. If you want to stay here, you're going to contribute and you're getting taxed just like everybody else on this planet, and you're going to follow these rules and laws, and you will work to your citizenship, and we will give you this much time to accomplish it. But you are paying while you're here. End of story. You're not going to freeload it here on these bullshit visas and this under the table work bullshit. Otherwise, get the hell out of here. If you don't want to contribute to this country and be a citizen, renounce where you came from, then get out. Well, we'll give you the plane ticket to get the fuck out of here. But if you want to stay here, here's your social. Start paying your taxes. And you're not getting anything lifted off the government for free. We're not giving you this handout bullshit. You're going to earn your way here, because that's what is expected of the American people to do. So you're not going to be any different.
Well, that's why I thought McLaughlin had a good plan. The guy who wasn't even considered for office. I mean, he was on the ballot, but
it's totally
he was like, okay, so the illegals that are here, all right, let them come to us, and you can stay here for a temporary visa for like 3 to 4 years, and as long as you're law abiding and you're paying taxes, then all of a sudden you become an American citizen. There you go.
Yeah, why not?
No fees or anything, nothing like that or whatever. Just make it nice and easy. Yeah. Because you're already here. So, and then you get the voting rights and whatever. So I understand that. And he's actually more to the right than anything else. Okay. So
I think that makes sense. And I don't know why we haven't started doing that since the beginning. Like, why are these free fees being waived from, anybody that comes here. It's just like,
you don't want anybody just
if
coming
we were
here.
if we were to go to their country, we would be paying taxes as a member of society anyways.
But the problem is they don't want the criminals. They don't want people that are escaping justice in order.
Okay.
So that's kind of like where the thing comes in that Eric was just about to speak about, I think.
There's limitations that you want. You don't want it to be that easy just to become a citizen and just to show up here because there are criminal aspects. You've got your terrorists that'll try to come over here and do damage, things like that. People that are just avoiding taking any levels of responsibilities anywhere. You don't want that to be that freeloading because then you're going to end up with a lot of garbage.
Or people that, Mexico or for us running down there, are running from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. And how many Nazi German guys, ended up in South America just because it was a good place to hide, to get lost in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you don't want to attract. But the cooperation within the governments, I think, could be opened up. And look at what happened with Cuba. That was more about their president and our president at the time.
We could go over to Spain today and apply for citizenship and have to go through whatever the requirements are to obtain citizenship. We could have dual citizenship. We can be a citizen of that country and this country, unless they're like Cuba and here we couldn't before. I don't know about now, but I'm sure there are some other countries that's not permissible. But you can do that. But these other countries have these strict rules that you have to do to become a citizen here, period.
Yeah.
And until you do that, you're not going to fucking live here. You could be here on vacation on your passport, but there's a time limit and you're getting the hell out of here. But we don't do that here. You can apply for a student visa, a work visa, show up here. It's 2 years, 3 years, extend it for 4 more, and then all of a sudden, no, you can't extend it and just fall off the planet, and you're here.
Right.
Okay.
And they don't find you and wipe your ass out or get rid of you.
Right.
Well, eventually you'll get caught and get deported, but it's not something that's stringent. We were hanging out in Spain for too long. They'll come knock on the door and say, get out. Okay. That's the way they run their show. We don't do that here. So it's already a little easy. And if you open that floodgate up to be too easy, then you're going to have the Twin Towers everywhere going down because it'll turn into Beirut here. And you don't want that.
Can I piggyback off that real quick? So all the people that are talking about moving to Canada, right? They just think, I'm just going to drive into Canada, especially here in Minnesota, because we just crossed the border and we're there.
Right.
And it's like, okay, they actually have some pretty stringent rules on becoming citizens. Yeah. And they really don't like Americans because they're like, you guys are fucking retarded.
I'm pretty sure most of those people that want to do that can't because they got a DWI. Canada's like, get out of here, hey.
God. They're talking about like social media posts and everything. There were actually posts from people in Canada going, I cannot believe you Americans. You guys are so fucking stupid.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you actually have to like fill out an application and actually talk about your values and what you can contribute and like, your morals and everything to in order to get into Canada. And they only have like certain number of people that they take every year. So
for citizenship?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would imagine there's something along those same lines here. I mean, you got to learn, the Constitution and some other stuff. And do you still need to learn the national anthem or some shit?
Apparently you don't need to learn English, so I'm not sure.
I don't get it. Welcome. Do you understand? No? Oh, then stay. What the hell? What the fuck's going on? Can you read the traffic sign? No? Then you can stay.
So let's do this one real quickly just because I think it's important. Should Planned Parenthood be federally funded?
Hell no.
Oh.
Well, that's kind of a quick release there. It all depends, really. If it's truly a planned situation, yeah, why not? But if you're coming in and say, forgot a rubber this time, get the fuck out of here. Go get the abortion you should have. That will pay for, and then we'll sterilize you.
That'll be the next topic, too, is the abortion thing. So let's just stay on the Planned Parenthood thing. I don't know if any other countries have Planned Parenthood federally. Oh, you're having a baby at 16? I'm sorry, let's give you money. And let's keep you on welfare for the rest of your life.
No.
I don't understand that,
No, there should be limitations, but yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're 16 years old, you can't afford to have a child, then you should not have a child. Or then you quit school and you start working at McDonald's until you make manager. I don't know what the...
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you think about it, there are repercussions for, your decisions in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you have to suffer those. I think that's a big problem in our country altogether. That's a whole other ballgame. We're not letting
people suffer,
Taking responsibility for your actions.
No child left behind. The trophies for everybody for participation.
That's ridiculous.
God, I can't talk tonight. But I mean, that's what it is. It's like if there's no consequences, then there's no care.
Right. There's no repercussions. Yeah, I agree.
So then the question is, should abortion be legal? Of course, the Democrats are like, yes, absolutely. I think so. I don't think
it's a personal choice.
I don't think that the legalization or the legalities of abortion should ever be in question.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be a possibility to regulate that from happening.
Yeah.
Because it's a personal choice, it's a moral decision, and that's up to the individuals involved.
Right.
To say somebody can or can't, no.
Right.
Go ahead. I think it should be used maybe in a way of, mapping out irresponsible people.
Mm-hmm. Right. How is the government to say, I'm sorry, you don't want to have this baby, but you're going to? Oh, that's going to be a fucking wonderful child's upbringing.
Right.
Just
how many unwanted kids are there already?
Right, exactly. And so they're gonna force somebody to have a child that doesn't want to have a child, and that's just no.
U.S. is playing Catholic roulette for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
Huh?
That's fucking stupid. That's just creating a fucking mass murderer.
So all the other candidates believe in abortion should be legal. It should be somebody's choice. I do have to redo Trump's.
Oh boy. Okay.
I don't even know what to call this. If this is a comment or just
his verbal diarrhea.
Tangent. I don't know. So there was
So
the quote is Chris Matthews, who was an interviewer, asked him, "How do you ban abortion? How do you actually do it?" Like he's asking for his plan. So Trump says, well, you go back to a position like they had where people will perhaps go to illegal places, but you have to ban it. What? That was kind of my, Okay.
So he's saying you're going to ban it, but people are going to get it done in an illegal place.
Right. Okay. So then the interviewer, Chris Matthews, asked, do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no as a principle. Trying to basically, pinpoint, yes or no. Don't give me some retarded fucking mouthy la la la. So Trump says the answer is that there has to be some form of punishment. Okay. So Matthews wants to clarify and says, for the woman? And Trump says, yeah, there has to be some form.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
This is going to be another fucking entertaining 4 years of mouth diarrhea.
Here's the thing that makes my head explode. So Republicans, just Republicans in general, right? Let's just call the majority Catholics or Christian, whatever denomination they are. The people that are against abortion, this is what they're going to base their fucking abortion talk on.
Right.
This fucking statement right here that says nothing. This is fucking stupid.
Right. Just
stupid. Bleh. You're like, well, if I can agree with my religious beliefs, so yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Oh we need video on that. That's funny. I have to tell you, if people would have voted me president, this wouldn't be an issue.
Nice.
Because there'd be some real bases. Moral choices, not part of government. Religion, not part of government. Yeah. End of story.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for the Catholics and whatnot? Fuck them.
Right. That's their own.
They're losing their tax breaks and everything.
Nice.
Bullshit. You're going to have your little cult practicing business. You're paying taxes on that bullshit. Every time that little plate goes around, we want to know how much money you're making, and you're going to pay taxes on it, just like the server's getting tipped.
Nice.
That's the way it's going to be. You want to believe it? Believe it. You want to make money? You're going to pay for it.
Should be completely separate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's a business, and every other business gets taxed. You are too.
Nice.
Scientology, double.
Nice.
Well, there was a question, and I actually didn't get the results, so I don't remember who said what, but there was a question where should churches still be nonprofit? And that was, it wasn't like that interesting to read because I think it was a lot of just that
plus in the beginning, minus in the end, adds up to nothing.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. Okay, I'm talking from a position that doesn't buy any of that stuff. So of course I have a little bit more stronger opinion about it, but I don't think that religion or any kind of moral choices when it comes to like abortion or anything related to religion belongs in government. It just doesn't.
I don't know about any, but I believe in like basic standard ones, like.
There's a difference between right and wrong.
Right.
There's no religion or morality that needs to come into play with that.
But the question is where you draw the line, and that's where religion and morality come into it, and that's how they're joining up with politics. Like, where do you draw that line?
Sure, but I think that's where the line gets drawn in just sensibility for civility. It doesn't have to come off of any religious perspective or morality belief.
Right.
It's like the abortion thing. If you don't believe in that, then don't have one. If you couldn't care less one way or the other, make your choice as it comes up to you. It right. doesn't matter. Yeah. The government shouldn't have anything to say about it.
No,
if a clinic doesn't want to perform them because the doctor that owns it doesn't believe in it, well, that's his choice. They'll go to a clinic that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Fine. But.
And the last comment I have to make on that is that Trump had actually changed his views on it because he had made prior statements before he was considered about pro-abortion. So I thought that was kind of funny, too, for all the religious freaks out there that are voting for Republicans just because they're against abortion.
Yeah.
You can't vote for a party just based on your religious beliefs. No. If you're doing that, then you're being a sheeple.
You shouldn't vote.
Yeah. Well, even on KQ today, the girl that called in, I think was talking to Michelle.
Oh, Michelle Tafoya.
Yeah. And she was like, it really bothers me. She goes, I work in a man's world, and, my job is very man-based. And she goes, it really bothered me that women were voting for Hillary just because she was a woman. Right? Like, that was the stupidest decision for any woman to say, oh, I'm voting her because she's a woman. The fuck's kind of substandard are you giving yourself?
That's the swing of the feminist thing that doesn't make sense. That actually makes women look really bad.
And it was kind of refreshing to hear. It was like, you know what? You're right. Yeah.
And I was glad to hear that just the same, just from a male's perspective.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so there's obviously, I'm not trying to sound like a prick saying it this way, but there's women out there that are using their head on that basis of going, this is not a woman I want representing me as a female.
Yeah, no,
and
exactly.
Not to say that anybody was necessarily looking at it from that perspective, but I'm sure some people were. Yeah. And I will be one to admit, years ago, I said I would never vote again until a woman was running, and I don't give a shit what she said. I was voting for her. Well, until she opened her mouth. I ain't voting for that. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's just, I can say it because I thought a female could most certainly do a good job, and whether it be better or not, I don't know. But just from her perspective, she proved that there was no way she could do a better job, and it has nothing to do with the fact of her being female or not. She's just a fucking idiot.
Right. She's a politician. She was basically, she was married to a politician.
She was in that office for 8 years already.
Yeah, so she knows what to say, what in America.
Well, apparently not.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is that America's just tired of it.
Well, she was married to a politician that was much better than her.
Exactly.
That's her.
That's the thing. But no, America's just tired of the same
bullshit.
Political
right
hearsay and
exactly.
talk. Like, we're sick of the mudslinging. We're sick of you promising this. We're sick of it not ever happening.
In as much as I think as Trump is a complete fucking retard, at the same time, I'm hopeful that this will show the government that, hey, you guys really need to start representing us because we're a smarter public.
Yeah.
We know what we want.
Yeah.
And there might be a lot of people screaming for a lot of different things, but start paying attention to the people that are actually making the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully the businessman will hopefully make.
Can I bring up the last and biggest issue that, at least my friends on Facebook, because I don't know about you too, but I'm friends with a lot of, LG, BT, gay, lesbian, So we're talking about the legalizing gay marriage. Was it good or bad? Should the law allow people to refuse goods or services based on religious beliefs?
No.
To gay, lesbian, LGBT.
Why the fuck
would...
Huh?
Who?
Should the law?
Should
the law allow people to refuse goods and services? You remember that lady? I think she was in Indiana or whatever, and she's like, she worked for the the government, right? I don't know where she was, real low job, like DMV or something stupid like that, and she refused to service somebody who came to the counter because they were gay.
Oh my god,
no,
that is the
okay.
most
Stuff like that, no.
no.
And then the third thing is transgender people being allowed into either bathroom that they identify with. So those are the last 3 issues, and I combined them all into one. So it's gay rights.
Okay.
You know, basically gay rights.
No, the law should not be able to. Why would they do that? That's, for one, if you're a small business owner, the more the merrier.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you ever want to?
Because somebody has some fucking religious prejudice against you.
Well, fucking keep your mouth shut and take their fucking green money. There it is.
And I agree with that. However, we do allow people that have different religions to take breaks, like what is it? For the Muslims to go and pray? Is it like once an hour or something?
I don't know. Yeah,
they go
I
and
know
take
what you're
like
saying.
15
I don't know how
minutes
long
to
they
go
do that.
worship, whatever.
Wash your balls in the sink and
shit
on the floor.
And so that's kind of the difference to me. It's like, okay, so what they're doing doesn't really, affect too many people except for their coworkers who are taking the slack for that 15 minutes that they're gone or however long they're gone.
Right.
So that's a consideration. Like, okay, well, maybe could you cut it down to 5?
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, you're in America. We don't
smoke break timeline or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you're in America. You live by our rules. We would go to your country. We would live by your rules. That's how it should be.
That's another reason why I say religion, no government.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Or in the workplace?
No, I agree there.
If your boss,
not even there.
If your boss lets you do it, then great. But guess what? No, there's no way that government should law that.
If I have a business
regulate
and I need people from this shift to that shift, blah, 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 stuff like that, you come to me and say, I'm Muslim, I need a break here, here, and here, and say, then go over there and get a job because this is my company and this is what I need.
Well,
if you can't do that, then don't work here.
Okay, yeah. But I think that there can be some kind of consideration for that. Okay, so basically throughout the day, you're going to take a 15-minute break every hour, right? What does that add up to? And you get your lunch hour, and you can use that time to do that. And then anything extra, you have to stay X amount time later.
I think there'd be a lot of changes to labor laws that might get a little confusing for stuff like that. But I understand what you're saying. And my perspective would be, it would be up to the business to tolerate one's religious beliefs or not. Like in IT jobs, probably isn't going to matter that much if you disappear from time to time when you think you need to for whatever that is.
But if you're in a restaurant position or something where you're required.
If you're in a restaurant serving meat you're not supposed to serve, and then go get a different job. I don't need you here because you're a problem for me. If you're not going to take people into your cab because they're purchasing alcohol, then get a fucking different job because these people need a goddamn cab.
So to play devil's advocate, are we saying that then it's now okay for businesses to decide based on on religious beliefs if they will sell individually to gay or lesbian people or transgender?
I don't think they should, but
because if we're saying that's okay for religious beliefs that are beyond, basically the Christian beliefs.
But you're talking about a business owner looking for commerce. They want business. Well,
they do, but what if they're religious fanatics?
Then if they're going to do that, that's their private business. And if they're willing to turn away business,
that's on them.
That's their problem.
Yeah, government should not have anything to do with
so we're okay with. Well, that's what I'm saying. So government is saying should the law allow people to do that, or should they make it illegal?
I think if it's private business, they should be able to do what they want. However, on the same side, consumers can't make a hissy about it.
Because you have to think, if you're a gay person and you walk in there and you're told, oh, we don't serve people like you.
Then go next door and buy their stuff.
I get it, but how, that discrimination is something that America has fought hard not to allow.
But they're a private business.
Socially, no, I get it.
Okay.
You're talking, but yep.
Let's go do a different topic. You go to a bar, they can refuse to serve you. You don't even have to be drunk. They can refuse to serve you. Okay, are we going to have a problem with that? Well, some people do as an individual, but they don't bring it into any kind of case, any kind of courtroom for anything.
Right.
So if it's now on that belief system for whatever, what does it matter? It's a private business. Now, if they object to a gay person coming into their establishment, well, odds are they've got gay friends and they've got other gay friends. And before you know it, it's just going to go across. Hey, they don't serve gay people there. Hey, great. Nice to know. I don't need to walk in there. Well, they just lost a lot of business from even people they didn't know that were gay.
Yep.
Now they're like, well, then I won't go there.
Oh, I'd be out there fucking protesting. I'd be like fucking holding signs.
I wouldn't hold a damn sign.
Let's turn this bar or whatever it is. Let's turn this business into the biggest fucking redneck fucking no teeth place where they get all the shit,
Right.
and that's what they can have.
How about
and
the
socially nobody
consequence
goes there.
aspect to it? If you as a private business want to turn away people based on whatever your beliefs are, you put it on a sign at the front door.
Right.
We do not serve gays.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if they come in and for some reason say I'm gay, they can legitimately say, I'm sorry, we don't serve you.
Or they can decide if I'm going to walk into this place or not.
Exactly.
That's almost like the GMO labeling.
Now it gives them a choice.
So now we can label.
I'm not giving them my business, even secretively. Fuck them. So then that way, it's all on them. It's their responsibility to advertise that. And if they don't advertise that, they can't refuse somebody's service based on it.
And if they happen to have bricks through the windows, that's their problem because they're fucking bigoted idiots.
Well,
right.
You know?
Now you're letting vandalism come into play.
I don't fucking care. Fucking kill them.
I do. Somebody vandalized my shit for no good reason.
Would you put out a sign that says we don't serve your kind?
I wouldn't do that.
Right. Then you're fine.
Right. But I'm not going to promote vandalism just because somebody doesn't
I'm not
like
promoting
what
it.
doing.
I'm just saying that that's likely to happen if we have
Well, yeah,
idiots
but then
that are
that's
like,
something, that's a different law being broken. You shouldn't be doing that either because they have rights too.
We don't serve your kind here.
So was the question should the government allow that or not allow that?
Should the law allow people to refuse good or services based on religious beliefs?
I think it's ridiculous, but I think that yes, they should because it's up to the business owner if they want to fail.
I think there's some.
If you're going to deny business, and you're basically denying yourself to even grow.
I think there's some aspects to that would probably need some further definition because if I work as a serving job, a Muslim, and I can't touch pork or something like that, and somebody orders ham and I can't serve them now, well, then you shouldn't have that damn job because now you're a problem that's going to other people. So you can't refuse to do that if you've taken this job, which is part of your job.
Yeah.
So
I think it's up to private business owners, but if they're talking about like healthcare or something like that, where if somebody were to come in and be like, "Hey, I'm injured,"
if all of a sudden you have a CEO that has this weird fucking religious fanatical beliefs,
sorry,
is that okay?
Your skin's too dark,
right? Is that okay for them to say, "I'm not going to hire you because I don't hire people. I can hire anybody else. I just don't hire lesbians." Is that all right?
See that I don't think
it's all right.
Sexual orientation shouldn't matter to a job.
It shouldn't matter to anything.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Now,
it does.
If you're getting hired as a female to suck guys off, well, you shouldn't come in as a guy dressed as a female to suck guys off because that's not what we're hiring.
Yeah.
Looking for females, right?
Right. So there's logistics to what we're saying here, and that's a little graphic, but that's just a straight point. Now, if you're pointing out you have a head of a company going, I don't like homosexuals. Well, that's your problem. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to keep this as a personal business, well, I guess that's your right to hire and fire, but you
guys
can't
see how
force anybody out.
You see how it's a very complicated issue because
absolutely.
We're trying to have, the respect for other cultures and other people and whatever, but then we're also trying to say about, okay, these fanatics in my mind, how do you separate the two? Yeah. So I think it's a very interesting question. That one is, should you allow? Yeah. My thing is no, then don't be a business owner. In fact, don't live at all. Just hold your breath until you die.
Just walk into the ocean and don't
just
stop.
walk in the ocean and just don't stop breathing.
Right. That's the thing is like, good luck with your business if that's your decision. So we'll, replace your business in the next 5 years.
Well, I don't understand.
With a new one.
When it comes down to the basics, same thing with trans people being allowed in the bathroom. I had somebody next to me yesterday. Transgender, obviously. I had zero problem with her. I will give her the respect and say her. Being in the bathroom. I don't have a fucking problem with it at all. It doesn't bother me.
I object to them having a problem with being called he's or she's. Because you know what? Accidents happen. I've been called a she, and I look nothing like a she. I don't give a shit.
You a she?
It was by accident.
Okay.
I've looked at somebody in a classroom and said, yes, ma'am. I mean, sir. I was looking technically to the person next to him, and when I was coming up with the word, then I looked at them, and it came out wrong. Yeah. And unfortunately, they looked a little, So
Put
I
out.
was like, no,
Put
I mean,
out.
they looked like a female as a male,
Ah.
but they weren't looking like a female.
Right.
Or I had the person the other way. It was a butch-looking chick, and I accidentally said "sir," and I shouldn't have. I can't remember which way it went, but that was probably more likely that way. And then I was like, "Oh fuck, that was stupid," But hey, accidents happen. Relax. No big deal. Nobody's trying to offend you or insult you. Let it the hell go.
Yeah.
I personally don't care if chicks come in the men's room. It doesn't bother me the least bit. But if we're going to start having issues and comfortability problems and things like that, all right, let's set a standard.
Yeah.
You are either male or female. I don't care what parts you change, and it's based on your chromosomes. You're never going to change it. So identify by your chromosome, and that's where you go take a piss.
Yeah.
So you're saying no, you're not okay with transgender
I'm saying
people.
if it's going to be a problem.
What do you mean by problem? Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, I'm just going to use you as an example.
People's
Let's
feelings
say
are gonna get hurt,
you come up and say there was a chick with a dick in the bathroom there and I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're going to have fucking problems like that, then guess what? Then we're going to eliminate them for everybody. XX chromosome, XY chromosome.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So now you might have a chick in there who is actually XX chromosome with a dick anyway.
Yeah.
And too fucking bad.
Yeah. Whatever you got dangling between your legs or not dangling between your legs.
No, that doesn't identify as chromosomes anymore.
Well, no, but are people going to hold badges?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know?
If really it's going to come down to it being a problem, then that's how you can identify it. You got two X's, I got an XY.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if she gets a sex change, she's still got two X's and she might have a dick and she's going to still be in the bathroom with you. What the hell are you going to do about it?
So then it doesn't matter, and all bathrooms should be unisex anyway.
It doesn't. But that's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. If you need to define it, but it still isn't going to matter.
And you don't want to define it because it's not going to matter, and then that will allow all the things that the religious fanatics are worried about, going, oh, my kids are in there, what if there's a pedophile? First, you should be in the bathroom with your kids.
Yeah.
First of all.
What the hell's wrong?
Okay.
All the way up until they're 25.
You should always be prepared. Gun, mace, knife, whatever. Always be prepared.
Bazooka.
All right. Third of all, the people that actually want to come into your bathroom right now for the LGBT community, they're not pedophiles. They identify with the opposite sex, so it's not a fucking big deal. So let it happen.
Right.
They're not looking for fucking kids. They're looking to be recognized as a female or as a male. Do it. It's fine. But now I could see if a woman identifying as a man comes in to a men's bathroom and all of a sudden they have a problem because they are a woman. And they're like, oh, well, they make me feel insecure and I need my own stall or whatever. Now that's a problem because now you're changing the bathroom that you're going into, and I'm not okay with that.
I'm not okay with that either.
Or if a man comes into a man who has transgendered into a female but hasn't had the sex change and they're like, well, I need a urinal. No, you're not changing.
There's one next door.
Right. You're not changing the women's bathroom.
Right.
You're not changing the men's bathroom. And as long as you're okay with that, cool.
Then that's why I guess my argument and my point is that it doesn't matter no matter what you do. If you're going to define it, then define it on the very base level that you cannot change. And when you do that, okay, that's as satisfactory as you're going to get.
Right.
As basic as it is. And at the same time, you're going to have somebody who's been surgically altered that's still going to be representing something else, and you're just going to have to deal with it then. Mm-hmm. And how are you going to prove otherwise anyway? Mm-hmm. You're going to have them take a fucking blood test there on the way out?
Right.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So who gives a shit? Let it the hell go. And if you're in there dropping a duke and you realize there's somebody next door standing up taking a whiz and you're in the chick's room, well, cut it early and leave.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really think it is whatever you have between your legs is the bathroom you go into until either it's altered or not. And what was my point? Completely lost my point. Never mind.
Well, that was a dull point.
No, I had a really good point. I forgot it.
Whatever you got between your legs.
Right. Well, that's the thing. In the women's bathroom, it doesn't really fucking matter.
No, you're all stalls, yeah.
Right. Men, maybe the urinals, okay, whatever. If guys have issues, if there's a chick standing next to me with a dick, oh, well.
How would you know?
Right.
The only way you'd know is that, you really wouldn't know. The only thing that would be odd, yeah.
And he's
the only odd thing
is
right. The only odd thing is that you're standing at the urinal, guy comes up, heels in a skirt,
yeah,
and he's pissing at the urinal.
Yeah,
big deal.
Yeah.
I would not be comfortable with doing that because I wouldn't want to get splashed from the guy next to me on my foot or something. But
Right. Yeah, I think that's maybe where the only controversy comes in is at men's bathrooms, because women, we don't really pay attention. Maybe we'll see some shoes underneath the bathroom next to us, but that's all we see. And if they're turned backwards, so fucking what? Who cares? You know?
Why does it ever matter?
Yeah.
Because, as you're pointing out,
I suppose then that kind of defeats my purpose, or my whole point of whatever's between your legs. Who fucking cares? Just share all the same fucking bathrooms.
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't
care.
matter.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people that want some private. I don't like other people in the bathroom when I'm in there. I don't care if they're male or female. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'd rather be alone.
Yeah.
Well, is a multi-use bathroom. There's nothing I can do about it. So either I'm going to hold it all day, or I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Right. In men's, I mean, you guys have stalls, right?
Usually, yeah. There's at least one, sometimes two.
Stall, or,
Yeah, they're dirty and gross. Guys are pigs.
Okay. So.
And still, when I'm cracking one off, I don't want people hearing that. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe all bathrooms should just have stalls because.
Individual bathrooms.
Yeah, there you go. Individual. Yeah, because people can afford that.
That's right. You have to have a bathroom for each person that works there in case they all go at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a whole floor of bathrooms that are assigned to people.
Yeah. So what was the question then? What was the legal question that you were saying? Should government have some
should be permitted or something like that?
What are we talking about now?
The private or the bathroom.
The toilets.
Yeah.
Oh, so it just should trans people be allowed into the bathrooms?
Oh.
I when it comes down to it, to me, I guess when the discussion comes open, what should we do? You've got two choices that it's going to piss half of people off anyway. Either you identify at the very base level, which is a chromosome level, or you don't care either way. Because even if you identify it that way, you're going to have somebody next to you that has had a sex change that may be representing the other side. So it's not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just say what's between your legs, well, it doesn't mean they're male or female.
Okay.
It just means what the tools they're using.
Right. So then this is kind of a funny matter, is that men that have now become women, because the lines are so long for women blind, they're just gonna be like, well, fuck it, I'm going over the male side. You know,
They could.
Right.
What a benefit.
Right, motherfuckers. Fuck you. Get back in there. No, you're a woman now.
I
You
wonder
get
if
back
that's really the problem with
Right.
anybody, because they're
Is
going to
that
say,
the
well, those
question?
bitches are going to come into the
Right.
guy's
Well,
bathroom,
That's
then we
something
can't
like
go.
So if I'm dressed in a skirt and heels, can I still tell guys, well, I identify as a male just because I want to get
Right. You want to get through the line
Shorter
faster.
I don't think that would fly.
No.
I identify as a male, but I am a transvestite.
Right.
Honestly, what would they even do today anyway?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Are they going to come arrest you?
They're going
You're
to
in
come
the wrong
grope you?
bathroom?
You don't
Yeah.
have anything here.
Yeah.
I tucked it.
Yeah, exactly. It's sucked in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
Holding
somebody.
it in.
I'd like to see somebody try to grab me in the pussy.
Right.
Bringing that back to Trump.
Come
and
on,
this.
Trump. Bring it on.
Bring it on. See if you keep your fucking limbs. All right. Hey, I am
shit.
big, but I'm fucking strong as shit. I will break you.
We've been out in public sometimes, and the line's been long for the ladies' room. I've had you come in the men's room. It's like, just go in there. Nobody's in there. Go ahead.
Oh, and the best were, we'd go to those swingers parties, that we didn't really.
Well,
when
they're
we were
all,
pretending,
those all shared.
we were pretending to be swingers, all right, and we just went to the parties and everything. We were just pretending that we were like, hey, yeah, we're close to our friends. Never actually did anything, but those parties were amazing. So you'd go to the bathrooms and they were all unisex.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Men, female, doesn't matter. There are people fucking in the stall next to you, whatever. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But no lines.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
cared.
Nobody cared.
Nobody gave a shit.
I don't
really know.
Yeah, I don't think there should be laws.
There was chicks standing at the urinals offering to hold your dick for you.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
weird. That was so
Like,
weird.
Yeah, you got to wash your hand. You just touched another hand.
Yeah.
Just,
I use the men's stall at my work because we literally have one male that works there, and he's like there 3 times a week. And I'm sorry, I have to go to the bathroom a lot, and sometimes I pee 9 times a freaking day, which is a problem. I know. Anyways, different subject. Sometimes there'll be somebody in the bathroom for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm about to walk out the door. The men's bathroom's open. There's one ladies. There's one's men going in the men's bathroom. Don't care why it's a free
Well,
bathroom.
it's a single stall, single door, locked.
Yeah.
What the hell's it going to matter?
Exactly.
I try
Nobody's
to
gonna
avoid
care.
shit 30. That's what I call it.
What is it? Shit 30.
Shit 30. When all the big ladies from the office go in at a certain time after lunch and they just fucking just let all of their bowels loose, all
Right
the
after
shit
lunch.
food that they've been
Right.
storing in for that week or whatever.
McDonald's
So
and-
I actually
yeah.
try to plan my piss breaks around shit 30 is what I call it. So
Okay.
I try to go right before 11 o'clock
Yeah.
and then I try to hold everything until right after about 1:30.
Yeah. So I retract my statement that whatever's between your legs is the bathroom you should go in. I retract it.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually hard issues, especially when you're playing devil's advocate. I'm totally for it, but when you start talking about
Yeah.
the other, especially with the you know, the goods or services and the religious beliefs, that's actually a really touchy subject because we're trying to, you know, allow other people's religious beliefs and everything, but at the same time, now we're saying that you as a business owner shouldn't do that based on your religious beliefs. But
Right.
like you say, religion and business shouldn't really go hand in
Well,
hand.
Yeah.
Well, you saying that in
that
government. But
when it comes to your private business, I mean, you don't want to restrict people from what they can do in their private business.
But
Because-
playing devil's advocate again, when we're talking about our restaurant, we don't want kids there.
That's right.
We don't want assholes there.
That's right.
Anybody creating a fucking fuss, we want to be able to kick out.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the exact same thing.
That's
isn't it?
private business.
It's not. It may not
We
be in
can
our
decide.
religious beliefs, but that's what we want.
That's out of
Right.
common courtesy, respect, and civility. So yeah, but
They're
you're
blurred
right.
lines.
It's a very blurry bunch of lines, but that's where then it comes back to this is a private business. What are you choosing to do with it? Well, if that's what you're going to choose to do, then what's wrong with the advertisement aspect? That way people know up front and they can choose whether or not they're going to support your business or not.
Yeah.
So then you're really, you know, unzipping your fly and let your dick swing and you can slap it on the way by.
Mm-hmm.
That's your business then, but this is how we're running ours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really your choice. Government entities, no. They can't turn away anything. Even the workers can't. It just, no. It's a government entity, government service. Everybody's entitled.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. Unless there's a legality behind their entitlement, which is, you know, a whole different deal. But yeah, private business, private business.
Can I change the subject? Just piggybacking off that again. I know I
Sure.
keep piggybacking and changing subjects, but this one's kind of funny. So we're talking about labeling, right? Labeling business. If you're a private business owner and you're an idiot and an asshole, you're going to put a sign out saying, I don't serve gay people. I don't like you if you're gay, whatever. So people can make a different choice, right?
Right.
So the question came up for the candidates about GMO labels. Should GMO labels be mandatory?
Yes.
Yes, in my opinion,
Yeah.
too. So this is the funny thing. Donald Trump, they put him as like not sure, basically.
Oh my God.
This is Iowa Farm Bureau survey question. Do you support the use of biotechnology in food products and oppose efforts to require mandatory labeling for food simply because they contain an ingredient derived from biotechnology? His response is yes.
What? Oh my God. Wow. Can you elaborate?
I should also mention that all of this information that I've been reading off has come from the procon.com.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
anybody can read this. They go to procon.com.
Okay. Oh my God.
It's about them. So here's the thing is, Hillary goes into this long speech about what went on last week from Congress, da 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 da. But then she says, she goes, then, you know, we're talking about Africa and how some of those states are looking for GMO because they can sustain like in the desert or whatever. So kind of a non-committal answer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this
Typical
is what
political.
this one's really funny. This is kind of the Gary Johnson. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Gary Johnson, they asked him about a certain, and I wish right now I could remember the question, but they asked him about like basically, what do you think about this situation, about a certain, you know, community or country or whatever. And he didn't recognize it. And he was like, is that a trick question? Because he didn't know where on the map it was. And they're like, let me get you a map. I mean, so this kind of goes hand in hand with him just kind of going like, what? His comment is, I have celiac disease, so I need food labeled. I think food should be labeled, and that would include GMOs in food.
Oh boy.
Kind of glad, even though I really was rooting for the third party that he didn't.
Yeah.
So it was the food question, or it was a different question, but he answered the food question?
Well, yeah, he answered it. No, it was the GMO thing, but he answered it with he has celiac disease. Does anybody need to know that?
Right.
It's great. It's all about you.
Right,
You know, what
right,
are you
right.
talking about?
Well, I think he used it as an example on
did,
why he
but it's
needs
just-
food labels. But
Yeah.
Why would you start it out with, I have celiac disease?
Right. Yes, I think everything should be labeled, just as well as all the ingredients are required to be labeled by the FDA now.
I think that just raises a big fear, and I think that all should be labeled without a doubt. It just, it would raise some kind of fear in at least some groups of people, and some other people that just won't give a shit because they don't care. But our planet can't sustain the life that's here, and we unfortunately need to have GMO plants and animals that are pumped with drugs to grow them faster because naturally it just won't work.
Yeah.
And that comes to population problems, and
Well, that's what I'm
eventually
saying,
it's
to
just-
maintain the population. But if we don't really want to maintain this population, which I don't think we should want to,
No, we shouldn't.
people need to stop fucking breeding.
Right.
Then yeah, we need food labeled, and we need animals on natural, healthy diets, and we need to respect the animal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not doing that now because of population. So
Yeah.
I view that as that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, if our population was half of what it is now, people would be healthy just with the food that was able to be supplied by the planet without a problem naturally. It wouldn't be a big deal until it's some kind of natural crisis happened, but then there's recovery from that.
That's called the baby
boom.
boomers. And then they had kids.
And then they all had kids.
Right.
Yeah. No, it should all be labeled because it should be my choice what I decide to put in my body. If I choose to put in something that I know that is bad for me, okay, well then
And
I'm making
if
that
I don't
decision.
care about it.
If I don't
Right.
know about it,
If I don't know
then
about it,
it's
then it's a
not my
problem.
decision.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that just like rape?
Basically.
So wouldn't this be dietary rape?
Basically.
No, because rape is not consensual. So if you're looking at a label and you're saying, I'm going to put this in my body, even though it's bad, I'm going to eat some fucking Spam or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Right, that's what I'm
You're
saying.
making, that's consensual. That's consensual.
If it's not labeled, it's
Oh,
dietary
right.
rape.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're
yeah.
right.
If it's- yeah, exactly. If it's labeled, then it's consensual. Then
That's
I know
right.
what I'm putting in my body.
Then it's not rape.
Right.
So don't rape us.
I think the big thing is that, like, McDonald's is afraid that they're going to go down, and yeah, they might.
They're going to
But
lose
at least-
a certain part of the population.
Oh,
They're not
yeah.
going to lose everybody.
No, they're not going to lose everything. I mean, I'm not, even though I'm against Monsanto's and I'm against all the bad things that they do to their animals and everything, once in a great while, I still might want an Egg McMuffin.
Right.
But I'm not going to go there every single fucking day.
Right,
So,
but there's still
yeah,
people that
they're
will
gonna- right,
regard.
right.
They're going to disregard that. They're going to be like, whatever, it's cheapest for my family, whatever. That's
And
that's
that
more
is
of a social
their
issue.
choice.
It's
Yep.
their choice.
Yep.
Then that's fine.
Right. They should actually have, like, pictures of what their children might look like in 30 years. But
I want a Happy Meal. Comes with a free picture of your child in 30 years.
Exactly.
A blimp. That's what.
But anyway.
Comes
So-
comes with a page book of life, and the last page is their autopsy photos.
Of them 400 pounds. Exactly.
Lying in a bed, getting airlifted out from a crane that they had to cut around a hole in.
Yes.
A sanitized chainsaw to cut into them and just
Right.
to check them out. Just,
Right,
It's
to
too
do it.
damn big.
They're like, are you sure you want this 99-cent cheeseburger?
You imagine that going to a drive-through? Yeah, give me the 99-cent cheeseburger and the 99-cent fry.
Right.
And the
Are you
$300
sure?
heart attack.
Are you
Oh, sorry.
sure
That's
you
the
want that
old
food?
copay. The $3,000 copay for the heart attack.
Right.
Yeah, they ask you, and what insurance do you have?
Yeah, that's what they should ask you.
Yeah, no
Is it Blue
shit.
Cross Blue Shield, Medicaid, Medicare? No.
Yes, your bill is $2.80, and may I see your insurance card, please?
Exactly.
So to kind of wrap it up, the thing that I've been seeing that was probably the most disturbing, and actually from one of our relatives too, she's from Germany, is the comparison of Donald Trump and where America's heading to Hitler and the German,
Yeah.
the Reich and everything. It's like, so I get what they're saying. I get what they're saying, but I don't think the American public is going to allow that.
No.
You know, and that's the thing is like, I didn't vote for Donald, you know, if somebody did, okay, that's fine. That's their choice. I can't hate them for that, you know, based on everything that I've researched. Same thing for Hillary. I can't, you know, judge anybody for voting for Hillary or
I'll judge
Trump.
you.
Nice. But I do have to say, okay, so this is what the majority ruled for, and I want to view it as we want to send a big smoke signal to the government saying everything needs to change. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
And maybe we possibly did by actually like voting in a businessman instead of a politician. That's fingers crossed. That's the kind of way I'm looking at it.
I think it's one step.
Yep.
I think it's one step, but I think we can still have hope. And that's what I'm hanging on to. I can still have hope for the future. Just because your candidate did not win doesn't mean you cannot stand up and say, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Even if you're an armchair jockey, there's still petitions online you can sign and send off to your government. There's a lot of things you can still do to say, I don't agree with this. I don't believe in this. And the more people that do it, you know, the bigger the impact. So it's not like you're stuck.
Yeah.
Nobody's stuck.
No.
And I still have hope just because of that. Because that's what I'm clinging to is that, okay, things need to change. We've known that for a while. This may just be the first step there.
Yeah.
We may have voted in an idiot. We've had them before.
Right.
Times. 44 of them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've suffered fools before.
And that's the thing is that at least we don't have English Parliament where we have a choice.
Right.
They don't, you know, the Britons, Great Britain, they're basically given what they're given for that lifetime, and that's what they have to deal with. So if they're unhappy with it, well, then they have to make other decisions. We at least get a decision every 4 years.
Yep, 4 to 8, depending on
the election. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm still clinging to the hope. I think, you know, change is actually in the process. I don't agree with him being president, but I don't have to agree at this point, do I?
Right.
It's already done.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can do is
hope for the best.
Hope for the best and stand up for what I believe in and be loud about it.
Yeah.
And I would expect that anybody listening to this program or anybody listening anywhere would say, okay, you know, it doesn't mean you're beaten down. You know, like there was a post, Tom Bernard said this, right? Republicans rejoice, Democrats, what was it? Despondent.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You're going to be despondent?
Right.
I know you're disappointed, but that doesn't mean that you stop. That
People
doesn't mean
bawling
that you
and
quit,
crying as their Hillary lost. It's an election.
Right.
It's an election. Get over it.
Right.
And now do what you can to make shit happen.
Yeah.
Let me borrow you my gun.
Right.
What the hell?
Would you guys agree with that, though?
I would agree.
You gotta keep hope.
Yeah. I'm along those lines. Yeah. I didn't vote for the guy, but at the same time, you know, you have what you have, and now you have to go forward and make the best of it.
Yep.
And it's not like he's going to wake up tomorrow and say, this is happening, that's happening, and it's going to happen. I mean, we don't live in a country that's like that, like you've been pointing out, Cheryl. It's not going to be. The world isn't coming to an end. This son of a bitch is going to keep spinning and rotating around the sun no matter who the hell is our president. So, you know, you don't have to worry about it.
And they don't make all the rules, and they don't make them right away. Right. You know, I mean, there's a whole thing. And I know people are worried that, you know, now everything's owned by the Republicans because we have a Republican state.
That is very strong to the Republican side right now.
It's concerning,
but a lot of people on the Republican side don't care for Trump, so it's not like they're just going to vote in whatever the hell he wants to say because they want that. I mean, he's not one of them in their little...
Well, I think I said this earlier on in the program, but, you know, Trump was very much Democrat most of his life, so they're kind of assuming that he'll lean a little bit more left than right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not such a bad thing.
No,
it's not. But you know, when it comes to executive party, like weren't you talking to me the other day about what was it, the executive orders or something like that? Or
like Obama, a lot of the stuff that he implemented during his 8-year nightmare was done. Well, not most of it, but a lot of big things were done through executive order. They were objected in Congress, but he made an executive order and went forward with it anyway. You know, well, is that still, you know, something possible to be done? Yeah, but you pull enough of that off, then the American people are going to start stepping up, and over Congress and impeachment shit comes up.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
you got to watch and pick and choose what you do at that level. But you know, he can have all the ideas he wants. It's still got to go through Congress, and it's still going to come to public.
Yeah.
And if he just goes forward with it anyway, well, there's still people who are going to have something to say. So this is not the end of the world.
Speaking about that impeachment stuff, just gotta bring it back to Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Right. He was
Love
he was
that
a
fucking
great
guy.
president.
Just a fucking word master.
Yeah.
The guy was a wizard. It's funny how much I hate his wife, but how much I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different people. Yeah.
Did you have any more to summarize?
No, I'm.
What about you, Cheryl? How would you like to
everything.
summarize?
I'm good.
Well, we want a summary out of you.
Cheryl, we want a summary.
That was
out of
my
you.
summary.
Wrap it up. Here's my summary.
Right.
Well, I've got a couple of points to say,
Yeah.
as you've pointed out on even on social media, and I'm not going to name who because I don't want that to be out. But some of the comments that I've seen that are just they're so childish and immature in my eyes. And one of them was, "I fear for women," and something else. Can't remember what the other part was.
Economy.
Environment.
The
The environment. And my question is, do you think tomorrow it's just automatically going to go into effect that women have to sit in the back of the bus? There are automatically 50% pay cuts going on, and they have to bend over and take a dick every time it's requested. What the hell are you fearing?
Yeah.
I'll be dead
for
on day
women?
one.
I mean, I don't understand where that fear is coming from.
Right.
It sounds so stupid because you're talking about some guy who's had these comments taken out of stuff. In all
I burn the pussy.
yeah, and for all we know, that commentary stuff, the locker room talk they talked about, how do we not know that was one sentence out of an entire conversation completely taken out of context to represent what you want?
Yep.
We don't even know what the hell that shit was about.
And who's to say, and I'm not defending Trump at all because I think those comments were fucking atrocious. I don't even think you'd say that if somebody egged you on. But who's to say that somebody that was smarter than him wasn't egging him on in this locker room conversation to be like, so what are you doing
I can
that
say
day?
I've said shit just as bad, probably worse, to guys that are just guys, to chicks that are chicks, to purposely offend a woman. I know I have.
That would be me.
Am I a woman hater? Am I dangerous? No. It doesn't matter. I will admit to using very feminine comments, racist comments, behind closed doors, out in public, yelling at a football game, because I find it funny. I'm not racist in the least bit, nor am I sexist. None of that shit matters to me, but the comments are funny.
Right.
So, yeah, but does that make me anything? Well, no, I don't think so, and I wouldn't judge anybody else being that way.
Besides, you have Tourette's. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Yes, he has Tourette's during football games.
Well, I also, just admitting this, I have Tourette's when I'm playing video games.
Oh my God, she's terrible. I was gonna say that today. I'm like, Jenny, you sound exactly like Eric during the football games.
Yep, pretty much, because anything bad I've ever heard in my life, that's what I spill out.
Yeah.
And I don't mean anything by it, you know?
It's like we talked before about like the fag word. When in the 80s, it meant stupid. It meant you were an idiot. It had nothing to do with sexual connotations.
Yeah, when I say it now, it has nothing to do about who you want to screw, because I don't care.
Right.
I don't look at somebody and be like, oh, you screw guys, you're a fag.
Right.
I don't do that. That doesn't even come to
It
mind.
didn't have anything
Like,
to do
cool.
with sexual orientation.
Right.
Right.
Just
But
what
people
I've heard.
define it that way in their interpretation or perception. So that's what I mean. That isn't what I meant.
Well,
Keep that crap to yourself.
Let me give a very personal kind of take on this. So I'm playing, alright, this is going to make me sound like a total geek. I don't play video games very often, but sometimes I got to bug up my ass, and we have all these old consoles that are super fun to go back to. So the last 2 days I've been playing Super Mario, what is it, 64? Yeah.
Yep.
And Cheryl literally heard me today. I'm playing an Italian guy, jumping up and everything, and I fuck up, and I slide off the world, and I die and everything, and I call him a fucking That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying, so I don't mean anything by it. It's an Italian guy, but I say the worst thing that I can think of just because of that. Because it just pops
indoors.
Look at Cheryl sliding under the table. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
She's like, cut, Dad.
part out.
But that's what I'm saying is I don't mean anything by it. I
Right.
just said it because it's like the worst thing I could think of at the time because I was mad.
Right.
Don't think of that person.
You hairy little man.
Right. What else would I say? Right.
Back.
Pudding.
But yeah, I don't know.
I don't. Maybe it'd be more racist if I said you. You know,
Right.
he's Italian. So yes, I have Tourette's too. You know, when it comes to that, but it doesn't mean there's any meaning behind it. A word is just a word. What you put behind it is what's important. You know, same thing with people being offensive. They can only be offensive if you choose to be offended by it. You know.
Absolutely. But yeah, stuff like those comments on Facebook and whatnot, I don't understand how it is getting taken to that level. It's unnecessary. But
well, people can voice their opinions all they want and how strongly they want for it. But I've actually, like many of my Facebook friends have said that they've had friends either defriend them or they've defriended friends that believe in this and the other.
That's ridiculous.
You're just saying something. It doesn't mean that you believe in everything that they're saying about, the same thing with me saying racial slurs or whatever. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that's what the person represents.
Right.
So why would you sit there and be like, you know what? We were friends at one point, but fuck you.
Right.
Because you don't believe what I believe. You don't know that, you know?
Right. It's almost like the government is trying to turn voting day into like a holiday, like what was it? What'd they say that,
There's certain states that is actually a national holiday. Nobody has to go into work.
ridiculous.
And I'm not sure, I don't think you knew this yesterday, but you can actually take off work for however much time it takes you to go vote.
I think you're allotted a couple
It's
hours
illegal.
or something like that.
No, in
know
Minnesota,
that shit?
you are allotted the amount of time it takes to go
Oh, okay.
vote. So if you
You
left...
get paid?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Motherfuckers didn't tell me this.
No, if you said, I need 2 hours because I need to get to the lines, they have
Right.
to pay you for 2 hours. Yes.
Oh my god, I would have gone yesterday before I got off work.
They were in the
Nobody
morning
told
show.
me things.
I don't know if you heard this on the morning show, and I might be wrong, but I think it's Australia. For voting there,
Yeah.
you are required to go in to the poll to sign in.
Yeah.
You don't have to vote, but you have to sign in. And
Have
if
to
you
sign
don't,
in.
you get a $1,500 fine.
Holy crap.
Let's do it.
You're required to at least go and sign in
Yeah.
at the voting poll, which you're already there. You might as well vote.
Yeah.
But you don't have to vote, but you have to sign in at the voting poll on voting day.
Because I actually just saw a stat about this. I think there's 53% of Minnesotans did not show up to vote.
Wow. What?
No,
Because
40.
they
43.
They
43.
could take the day off to go vote. That's what Tom Bernard said. He goes, "This is ridiculous."
It is.
Yeah, 50% of the vote population can't take the day. I'm sorry, it took me 15 minutes to go vote.
The
Jesus,
lady I was
people.
talking to today, for a short period of time, I had mentioned that I'm not to blame for whatever happens because I didn't vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
And she goes, "Oh," and I'm like, "And no, I didn't vote for Hillary either."
Right.
She's like, "Oh, you're one of those." I'm like, well, "What is that?"
Right.
Oh, boy.
Because
I'm
I
one of
wanted to
those.
understand what she meant by one of those,
Yeah.
and she was, "Oh, just don't no time to vote," kind of thing. I'm like, "Well, no, it's not so much that. I think there's a little bit more to that." So I'll explain my position. I take voting along the lines of having a lot higher responsibility. It is my right to choose on who I'm going to vote for, and if I'm given a list of candidates I don't believe are qualified or deserve my vote, I'm not going to go vote for any of them. So when it comes down to it, who do I vote for? Well, me. Well, since me and maybe one or two other people are going to vote for me, I'm going to lose, so I'm not going to waste my time to go there to do it.
Mhm.
So, did I not vote? Well, technically, no, I didn't. I have no problem admitting that because there was nobody for me to vote for. And since I'm not going to take the winning votes out of it, I'm not going to go there and write my name into shit because I know it's a waste of my time. So I didn't. But here's the thing, people. For all those that are happy and satisfied with the outcome, you get the good with the bad, and this is where I hold you accountable and responsible. When the bad happens, I blame you.
Right.
You just don't get the credit for the good.
No.
You get the blaming for the bad, too.
I took the same with Obama. I actually wasn't able to vote when Obama was elected.
Oh, the second time?
Both times.
Oh, both times.
Yep.
I thought you did.
No, because I had a felony, so I wasn't able to vote. So and that's the thing is I took the good with the bad. I was like, you know what? I wanted him in office. I'll take the bad with the good, you know?
Well, you can't because you didn't vote for him.
Well, but I actually had somebody who was like in between. She's like, oh, I don't really think I'm going to vote.
That's
I'm like,
their
hey.
fault.
Well, she took my vote. I'm like, hey, will you just go to the votes? Will you just
Nice.
go and just vote for Obama because that's who I want? She's like, okay. So yeah. So
So you're admitting to this crime.
Yes, I am. I have no
But you
problem
didn't
with
actually
that.
do it, so it's not a crime. You just convinced somebody, which is not a crime.
Oh, I was so
You
for
talked
him,
them
though.
into voting for them.
Yes.
They didn't
Yes.
do your vote. Yeah.
Now, I do have to say
But-
this, talking about the write-ins, because the write-ins can actually make a difference, and I heard this today. There was 10,000 people that actually wrote in the gorilla that killed the kid. I can't remember the gorilla's name.
No shit.
Yeah,
I know what you're
10,000
talking
people
about.
wrote the gorilla's name that killed the kid, because the kid was
the
being
kid
a
that
fucking
dragged
idiot.
the kid
Or
to the...
no, he didn't kill the kid. He just dragged the kid. That's right, and they shot
and
him.
they killed him.
So there's no, the kid's like safe and healthy. And they killed the
monkey or
gorilla. And so there was like 10,000 people that wrote the gorilla's name.
Good.
10,000
Good.
people wrote the gorilla's
Right,
name in.
right.
So they would have gotten more votes than you, but that's
Right,
hilarious.
Right. Well, there was even a state that, or even a vote about D's nuts. Did you guys hear about that?
Oh no, what's that?
Yeah, somebody had actually, he had actually almost been like voted on the ballot as D's nuts because nobody wanted to vote for Donald or freaking Hillary. So I don't know. I don't even know how the story came in place, but I heard about it from a friend that actually like D's nuts. People were actually going to vote for him in this state.
If he was on the ballot,
Almost.
almost
On the
right.
ballot.
I would have totally voted for him because,
Right.
it just seems like a happy-go-lucky kind of just like, yeah, whatever. And,
D's
so he's
nuts.
taking statements and he's like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
what do you think? What do you think? Okay, let's go with the one of baseball's common sense because I'm too high to even deal with it.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'd vote for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have to say it was a closing statement that it was actually really good to vote yesterday for my very first time after 7 years of not being able to vote.
Right,
so
right.
I do want to say it was a privilege.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My vote didn't win, but that's okay.
See, your vote didn't count.
It's not that it doesn't
still
count.
felt good. It still felt justified.
I gotta tell you, in a personal opinion, I think our voting system is corrupted.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
very, it can, and I should rephrase a little bit. It has so many possibilities to be corrupted and controlled because there's no accountability,
Right.
for who voted for who. There's nothing like that. So no matter what we do, and getting more and more to the digital age, it's so much easier and easier to fake that crap.
Mm-hmm.
You get in there and you make your vote. Who's to say that even after you cast it, it doesn't chalk up to the other side of the fence just because you put the paper in
Yeah.
and that's all they cared about.
Right.
You don't really know. So it's, I hate to say that about this country, but
You're asking for transparency.
I would like it. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
if you're gonna stand up, whine, cry, piss and moan because your balls didn't drop because your candidate didn't win, put your name on your ballot and let everybody see who you voted for. Then,
Yeah. I
You know,
wouldn't have a problem with that.
then how about that? Because then that way, when it comes down to it, the government has no lines to say what you did or didn't vote for,
Mhm.
and everybody can then see it and look it up.
Right.
I
No.
voted for McLaughlin. Just saying, I'm putting my name on my ballot right now.
I voted for me.
Nice. I voted
You
for
didn't-
McLaughlin. You did.
Did you go in and vote?
No,
Oh. I was like, what?
because other than the lady at work who said she wrote me in, there's only two.
Oh, so you convince? Okay, that's fine. I'll accept that because I said I would accept your vote for Obama. I'll accept that. Somebody
Nice.
wrote you in. Okay, yeah, I voted for McMullen.
So it'd have been
put my
two.
name. You did too.
Yeah.
Two, as far as I know. So, but why waste my time? I had better things to do.
Nice.
Had some porn to
You could
watch.
have had 3 votes.
Could have had 3.
I could have, but I had porn to watch.
Nice.
Nice.
What the fuck?
Sweet. Why aren't you yelling "cut at him" now? I'm just kidding.
I had some vagina to look at and fake grab on the TV. I grabbed some pussy.
Right.
With my eyes.
Right. I was
With my eyeballs.
grabbing some digital pussy.
Digital
Nice.
pussy with my eyeballs.
I love it. Oh, what the hell? Well, I don't know. I think that's all we got
I
here.
think that's it. I
Yeah.
think we should come up with another topic and talk real soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have so many topics that we can discuss, and feel free to drop us recommendations.
I
I
would
think we're going to talk
love
about.
some customer, or not customer, some viewer suggestions. I
Absolutely.
mean, seriously, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Just some ideas. People want to hear us, basically fuck up.
Yeah.
So,
And we can do that well.
Yes.
think so.
Well, I'm trying to get our outro music here going again.
I'll say thank you for listening, and
Yep.
please comment. We
Yeah.
would love to hear anything
Yep, absolutely.
you have to say, even if, we're morons.
Get right.
Sorry.
Have a
Hit the
good
wrong
night.
button.
Have a
Yeah,
good night.
thanks
I guess
again.
that's it.
No, by all means, repeat what you're saying. I just bumped the switch by accident. Yeah, we're rookies here.
Yeah.
Not quite a professional level.
Especially on a hump day night. What the hell?
Right. Have a good night, people.
Yeah, have a
Yes.
good night. Thanks for listening. This is In the Real, Jen, Cheryl, and Eric. And our outro music is once again from the Wilebski's Blues Saloon, album by Patrick McLaughlin and Friends.
Pat
And-
McLaughlin.
Yeah, Pat McLaughlin. And not the guy from Tennessee or wherever that
No,
was.
from Minnesota.
Minnesota. And I-
Goddamn Minnesota.
This is not Pat singing this song, but we'll let this one play out. It's just one of his friends. So, thanks again. Enjoy. See you next time.
Trouble come knocking at your door. If you've been shaken down to your core, look for hope to come shining through the darkness that's surrounding you. Get right. Well, get right. Get right with yourself and everything gonna be just fine. Well, get right. Well, get right. Get right with yourself and everything gonna be alright. Yeah.